Good afternoon and welcome to another special broadcast brought to you by Doe Eyes TV. Today's special guest will be Information Man Show, who will be joining us shortly. Please remember, and you all have been very good with this, to respect the integrity of this platform and all guests, subscribers, members, supporters, and the mods and chat members. Any questions you may have and opinions, you are welcome to leave them. Just remember to keep them respectful. And with that, welcome everyone for joining in and enjoy. welcome again, and happy Saturday, perhaps Sunday, depending upon where you are on the globe. We are just waiting for our special guest, Information Man Show. Please be sure hit the like button upon entry and for exit. Like, share, and if you haven't, subscribe. Thank you all so very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you too as well.
Happy Saturday.
Oh yeah, it's a good Saturday. I was a little busy earlier in this morning, but I'm doing good right now.
Excellent.
So excellent. Thank you. I wanted to say once again, thank you for having me over for an interview, and I look forward to the discussion, the questions you have for me, and anything else that comes about.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, welcome. Information Man Show. I would like you to give your brief bio as to who Information Man Show is and how did Information Man Show evolve. And
Okay. Everybody, I'm Information Man. That's the name that I go by on YouTube. In terms of my journey into YouTube, prior to YouTube, I've always been sort of an activist. I did some radio, some internet radio with a friend of mine by the name of Lions Den. There's people out there who know Lions Den is. We did some internet radio, some blog talk radio. We were regulars on a couple of internet YouTube programs that we would call in on and give our perspective. So it all started from there. I always wanted a way to express myself, to get out my point of views. For many years, I have been watching news programs, mainstream, should I say, and they're not telling our stories from our perspective. And that always frustrated me. I always had a YouTube account, but I did not start dropping any content. So once me and Lions Den, we started doing our blog talk radio, I started noticing YouTube more and more. And I kept saying, I would like to utilize YouTube to spread information from a Black perspective. So it was an easy transition. And pretty much my program is about social issues, political, cultural issues, spiritual issues, relationship, everything in a gamut. That's why I call myself Information Man. Now that name, I've had that name for a very long time. That's a name that I had prior to ever being on YouTube in terms of being a content creator. So it was pretty easy because I felt like, hey, I put out a lot of information. You put out things that make people think, you give a different perspective, you create conversation, and information, as I always say, is powerful. It's very important. We're living in the information age. So it goes hand in hand. So you get a variety of different content like that on my channel. I could be talking about reparations, as I did a couple of weeks ago. I could have some panels. I could be interviewing people like yourself. Anything that comes down the pipeline. I could be talking about some things going on in pop culture. Just a little bit of everything that impacts Black people. And then the difference that I like to hold my my 10 toes down on is that I like to eventually or give people a solution. You know, a lot of times on these YouTube streets, people talk about what the problems are, but they also fail in some cases not to talk about what are the solutions to these issues, you know.
Excellent. Andrea Smith is giving you a wave.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Others
Appreciate that a lot.
are well doing that. We have a slight agenda, but sometimes I like to be organic. And let me know if this is something that you do not want to speak on, but I saw a interesting interview you had and your breakdown with Mr. Lennon Honor.
Yeah.
Can you let everyone know that situation, if you will? And both respect to both of those gentlemen.
Lennon Honors basically, I wanted to do an interview with him. First of all, it was an interview that was long in the makings. Mm-hmm. The interview was simply designed to find out the process that led him down the wrong road, because I know a lot of people have had criticism of him. People have made accusations about he don't take care of his family, he don't do this and that. Well, I think Honors has quite a bit made it public that he know that he screwed up in areas when it came to his family. He's never denied that. He has said that in videos. He said that in the interview that I did with him that I made poor choices that has hurt my family, and that I should have gotten my degree and worked towards education a long time ago. He's admitted that. So a lot of people on YouTube want to use that against him. Look, nobody is perfect. Show me a perfect person, I'll show you Jesus. Ain't nobody Jesus, right? Now, in terms of the other stuff that's going on YouTube and people's beef with him, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I didn't create. See, because I heard all the noise and the nonsense out there. My interview, it wasn't my intentions to put him on my platform and to railroad the brother, to bring up issues that maybe other people have with him. You got a problem with Honors, you deal with that. That ain't got nothing to do with me. And a lot of the issues that were brought up that were personal to people, I didn't even know about those issues. Most of the content that I follow Honors on is the content that, because I have something in common. And that common is that Honors has exposed Umar Johnson. And for those out there who like Umar Johnson, who believe that, oh, he's the greatest thing through sliced bread, they don't like primarily Honors because he has gone into a deep dive on Umar Johnson. Now, he's made a lot of videos. I've even talked to him about that. You know, hey, you're making all these videos so people are still feeling like you're obsessed, and it can be obsessive, right? He's talking about this man, but what people fail to understand, and this is stuff that goes on YouTube. Someone talks about you, someone exposes your family, someone doxes you. Guess what? Don't be surprised if you get doxed back.
Yes.
And then everybody's running around saying, well, he did this to me. Usually nobody gets doxed unless somebody strikes first blood. Now, whoever strike that first blood, I don't know. But yeah, maybe he has done things that get other people in trouble. And I'm sure people have done things to discredit him. Once again, it's black people fighting black people.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the reason why I gravitated to the content related to Umar Johnson is because, see, let me break something down to you.
Sure.
Most people on the YouTube streets are familiar with Umar Johnson based on YouTube videos and based on his introduction into the Hidden Colors with Tariq Nasheed. Most people didn't even know who the hell Umar Johnson was prior to all of that. I did. I go back with following Umar Johnson way before I was even on YouTube. And then secondly, I donated money towards his cause way back. Now, a lot of people got it twisted. They think that Umar's been collecting money for the school since what, 2010 or no, 2012, 14, 15. No, the man's been collecting money for the school after 2009, which is why the things that Honors talks about on his channel resonates with me, because I had been donating. And so I was off the Umar Johnson train even prior to all this YouTube stuff, because I knew that there was something that wasn't kosher in my opinion. Okay? Now, whatever problems that people have with honors, take that problem up with him. It ain't my job to be YouTube's interviewer to throw a guy. I'm never gonna. This is my reputation. The most important thing that you can have on the YouTube streets or in social media is you got to think about your digital reputation. Of course, there's people who don't like honors, and they have a problem with them for whatever those reasons are. And they're reasons that I don't know nothing about, and I haven't been a party to. I'm not involved in any of these YouTube cliques. I don't run in YouTube cliques, because YouTube cliques cause you in the long run a lot of problems. Drama. I don't need drama. I'm trying to run a professional channel over here. I don't need beefing. I don't need drama. So I don't click myself in.
May I ask a quick question?
Yes.
You just said something very poignant. What is a digital reputation?
A digital reputation is when someone comes to your channel or sees your brand, your name, and it's what they think of you, what they know of you. So, for example, there's people on YouTube who have a reputation for beefing with people, arguing back and forth, constantly repeating these talking points that you see between the women and men, this battle of the sexes types of stuff. They don't really have content. It's just a lot of bibble babble. Let me tell you something. There's a difference. I've been saying this on my channel later. This is what I call YouTubers. YouTubers hide behind avatars like you see right there, an avatar of me, and they jibble talk. They give you no production value. They give you no solution to the problems. They don't analyze or critically think anything. They just rattle up the crowd and talk about this person, that person, and blah, 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 blah. And most of this drama comes from people hanging on panels with each other too much, right? A content creator is someone that's going to show their damn face, give you a production, focus on real content. YouTube was designed for us to use it as a vehicle to awaken, educate, empower our people. But too many of us use this platform to hide behind our own insecurities, our own issues, and we project it onto other people. It's not my job. And if you look at my channel, I've interviewed a lot of controversial people over the years, and I never tried to do a show where I railroad them. I might ask them a few questions, but the intent of that interview with Honors was not to set up here for all of YouTube, because I ain't working for all of you black YouTube. This is Information Man. I'm doing my goddamn thing. It's not my job to go after Honors and ask him questions about things that, I don't even know about. What he beefed with this person or that person. I don't know that. I've never had no beef with him. So why would I sit up here, try to interview him, throw him under the bus just to satisfy people out there who've got personal problems with him? You got to take it up with him or take it up with your damn therapist. I'm not your therapist. And whatever your beef is with him, it ain't my beef, because man ain't never done anything to me. Simply, I gravitated towards him because I have something in common. He breaks down the issues of Umar Johnson, which I agree with, because of my long standing of supporting what he was trying to do way before this YouTube shit because most people don't know about this man only by YouTube and follow him off of Hidden Colors. And so that's the relationship I have with Honors around that issue. But my reputation on YouTube, I assure you, is a good reputation, because I'm not known for beefing with people, going back and forth, taking people's thumbnails. I have a problem with that. Taking people's thumbnails, putting their thumbnails of people on your channel, taking people's names and putting their names and talking about people, beefing with people on YouTube. You got a problem with somebody? This is what a man does. If you got a problem with anything that I do or a woman does or anybody does, and you happen to know this person, you got a way to get in contact with them, the manly and womanly thing to do is to contact them and talk to them, especially if you have any kind of relationship with them. But too often on YouTube, people don't take that real mature route. They want to use their channels to talk a lot of nonsense.
And a lot of it I'm seeing lately, in my opinion, and a lot of my opinions have come to fruition, it's manufactured for profit.
Right. People are talking because they can make some money off of. Look, I was pondering this the other day, and I was saying to myself, why is it that black people come to YouTube to rip other black people off? Think about it. We got Hotep prophets out here. We got Pan-African prophets out here. We got dudes out here that call themselves red pill, whatever kind of pill. But everybody is trying to make black men and women look bad at the profit of your Cash App, at the profit of your super chat, and all this other bullshit. And then everybody wants to come on these panels or come on these platforms and make themselves out something that they may not even really be.
Absolutely.
And what's happening is it's black people harming other black people.
Yes.
The white, right. Go ahead.
It's gone a lot darker. You mentioned doxing earlier. There has been a culture that is pontificating more of this darkness with the harassment, the cyberbullying. You mentioned obsession, making 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 videos day in and day out of the same people. But if you take a moment to look at the news, whether it's mainstream or underground, many of these stories aren't being discussed, dissected, or solutions, or as you mentioned, activating your critical thinking.
Right. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I don't think that, like on my channel, I've done a few videos about Umar Johnson where I've been critical of him. But if you look at my channel is not laden with Umar Johnson videos all over the place. If you notice, I have a very balanced channel. I talk about various different subjects. And sometimes I talk about things that nobody talks about, such as how black women go missing and nobody gives a damn about black people when they go missing, particularly black women. I've done videos about that. So on my channel, I give you a full balance. It's important to have, look, a digital reputation is what people think of you when they come across your channel. Some people, when they hear a particular content creator, I call most of these people YouTubers, because there's the people who traffic and bullshit, they're nothing but YouTubers. And anybody can be a YouTuber. It doesn't take any level of thinking to do so, in my opinion. But people are obsessed in so many ways. Now, do I think that Leonard Honors should probably cool off from these Umar videos? Yes, he should. Matter of fact, I've talked to him personally. He's trying to get away from doing that. He wants to advance away from that. And I know there's people out there that don't like him doing these kind of videos. I get that, right? But see, but as a grown man, I can tell another man, hey, brother, you should probably stop doing these type of videos all the time, right? But do I control that grown man? No, I cannot control what a grown man or a grown woman's going to do or not. I can simply say I agree with it, I disagree with it, I can turn it off, not watch it, not promote it, whatever. Right? But I just don't see myself as, it's not my job to be a YouTube policeman for everybody. And what you can simply do is, as I do, I try not to hang out in places where there's a lot of drama. So if there's a lot of drama on panels, and I've been on some of these drama type panels before in the past, I try to move myself away from it, eventually drop off that panel, try to stay away from this sort of stuff, because it's not in the benefit of black people overall. It's not in our benefit.
Right. We have a guest, Empress, Goddess, Spiritual. Thank you for joining. And Deidrell, Spectre TV. I'm sure the two of you know one another. And his comment was, he said that for years it's lies. Not really sure what that part means, or if you want to.
Look, I don't really want to get into all of that. I'm not up here. I'm not up here to get into. I said what I had to say. I know. Look. Nobody on the YouTube streets who get involved in back and forth beefing, nobody's innocent. I'm not sitting up here saying the man is pure and innocent. Every man has flaws. I don't like people that dox people. I don't like people who dox people, put people's personal information out there. I condone all of that. Now, there's some things you might know about what a person does, and there's some things you may not know. Now, I may not know about things that he has done, or anybody on YouTube that I happen to know has done, if I'm not hanging in those circles to hear, to be a part of the drama, or to even plug myself into the drama. So something can happen to you, and I may not even know about those more intimate details.
Right.
And if I don't know that, how the hell I'm going to ask somebody a question about it? Especially when I wasn't involved in any of this drama that had nothing to do with me. And then you may find out later on, oh, this person did. It's like, for example, when I first got on YouTube in the past, I had a run-in with some folks that I used to run with that turned out to be bad. And they tried to do some things to me. And I simply disengaged myself from them. How am I supposed to assume that anybody that knows me, they are aware of what this person did to me because of whatever their issue, they don't know the issue. So I can't get mad and say, well, why did he have that person? They may not even know what the person did to me. This shit that happened to me was like early on. I can't assume. And once again, I'm not nobody is the police for YouTube. Even though we got Negroes who think they are the police on YouTube of morality and what you should do, who you should interview, how you should ask somebody a question. I'm gonna make it very clear. Information Man is gonna interview who the hell I wanna interview, ask the questions that I choose. If I wanna railroad somebody, which is not my style, and anybody looks at my channel, you know that my interviews is not a style. I'm not like on television where I'm looking to put a noose around somebody's neck. Now, if I know something that's ratchet about a person, that's real ratchet, I may consider saying, I don't want to interview them. Or I got to ask this question if I know the ratchet information. If I don't know that ratchet information, boom. So everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does some ratchet stuff. And you just say, I'm not going to engage with that person. I'm not going to follow that person. And you say, You tell somebody that you personally, you say you know, if you know somebody that you respect, then you simply do what? You contact them and say, brother, that you didn't know that he did this to me or he did that. Let me give you some insight that you didn't know about. But if you don't give me an insight and I don't know, then I just don't know. So therefore, nobody's gonna be happy on YouTube. I learned this a long time ago. You can't make anybody happy. I will do a video that somebody didn't like that somebody else liked. And guess what? It's not my job to make everybody happy. And I ain't gonna try to, period. Nobody's running what I'm doing on my channel. Not nobody, period.
Well, I guess we heard that. I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank D. Jarrell for his donation. May it be returned abundantly. I think there's a little bit of dissent, but dissent may be healthy to souls, and some may not want to engage in that, or perhaps on a different platform. Again, I'm still learning about this.
I pretty much said what I pretty much said what I had to say about that. You know, like I said, I know that there's attractors out there about honors. I'm not saying the dude is a perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? I know there's attractors out there, but I may and may not know all the details that other people have had their run-ins with him however many years ago that I had nothing to do with and didn't have any knowledge of. Simple as that. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to interview other controversial people, because on my channel, I like to get different perspectives.
And that's the key.
And that's the key. That's why it's called Information Man Show. I've had people on my channel that people totally disagree with, maybe didn't like, had beef with in another sector. That happens sometimes. But I'm gonna make it very clear again. I do not have a channel. Like, for example, if I was to interview you on my channel, and maybe somebody on the YouTube streets could have problems with you. I just don't have the type of channel. Right. And I don't have the kind of channel where I want to ambush you because somebody else had some problems with you that I didn't know. And this is the key word here, that I had no detailed or intimate knowledge to that deep level of.
Correct.
So we can move on to something else.
Absolutely. Wanted to get that out. And Empress said something very, very important. There's always going to be haters. You can give, donate, and then the very next day, they'll change. Fickle.
Right. I don't. My haters, if there are any out there, I don't lose any sleep, because see, this is the difference. I don't spend. If you notice, if you look at my channel and examine it, I don't spend 24 hours. I don't spend 24 hours on YouTube. I'm a professional man. I work during the week. I have a family. I take care of my business, and you may see me stream during the weekend, maybe once during the week. I don't live my life in cyberspace, so I can't be concerned about critics and what people got to say. And you can talk all you want. I'm thinking about my next video. I'm up in here. That's why it's called content creation. I'm already creating my next content, so I don't have time to worry about what anybody's talking about, because people are gonna always talk. And anyway, and if you're talking about me, thank you, because all you're doing is giving me great advertisement any goddamn way, because people gonna come over to my channel and they're gonna say, let me see if this is what Information Man is about, because they said this. Then they gonna find out, shit, this brother ain't about none of that shit they talking about. Let me subscribe, god damn it. That's why. So thank you for the free advertisement, god damn it.
Your drops are funny. I may have to legally steal a couple of them. So AH is a valid and avid supporter here. He says, the internet allows disingenuous, flaky people to have a voice where having it to be in a physical space wouldn't afford them. Would you like to respond to that? Can you see this?
Let me see. Internet allows disingenuous fake people to have a voice where having to be in a physical space wouldn't afford them. I would agree with that. But that goes back to what I was saying, sir, about you have people who come to YouTube and they grift black people, right? They sell you something. I'm not selling anything on my channel. I don't think only thing I'm selling on my channel is the information. And then if you like how I'm putting the information together and presenting it to you based on research and data and stuff, if you choose to super chat me or what have you, I appreciate it. And I always tell you, and this is the thing, if you're giving people money, you should be able to see you should be able to see the growth in the channel, the production, where the money is going, right? Yes. You should be able to see that in development, right? But he's absolutely right. There are people that come here with the wrong intentions. And it was never my intentions when I came to YouTube to say, hey, I want to make money and I want to do this and that. I just had a message that I wanted to put out there that black people could relate to, our people, and people in general. But I agree with him.
Absolutely. Empress says, if you're doing what's right, if you are in life purpose, people are always going to hate. If you don't have any haters, then you're not doing something right. I've never been a people pleaser.
I agree with her. But like I was saying before, you just can't make everyone happy. No. But you do the best that you can. You're gonna have look. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I don't want anybody to walk away with this impression that I think I'm perfect. I understand that people are going to have their criticism. And I tell my own audience all the time, you don't have to agree with everything that I say or do. You can critique it. You can give a balanced critique. I have no problem with that. No one is above criticism or critique. So even though I hate to go back to this, but I have to, even though I know I'm clear, I understand that there are people who didn't like the honors interview that I did with honors because it wasn't juicy enough. I didn't throw them under the bus and give you great clips that you could go back to your channel and say, look at what Information Man did to him. He really sucked it to him, right? I understand that. And people who feel that it was a softball interview, I'm not saying they didn't have a right to their opinions and their critique. They have, everyone has the right to that. But people think when they're giving their critiques that somehow they're getting to that somehow they're going to like morph you into what they want you to do and be. And I say to that, I drink some great Kool-Aid to that and laugh. That
Great.
I'm going to still do what I do, and people can still critique, and because as long as you're on YouTube, you're open to critique. That's all, and that's fair. I get it.
Don't understand that. Once you turn your camera or avatar on, no matter if you're positive or you're negative, you're open to critique. Right,
but a critique has to be based in knowing all the facts. And that is, it's different if a person knows all the dirt on someone that they did to people that you may know, and then they still do a softball interview and you don't know all that information. You see what I'm saying?
I do. And it's funny because I'm going to segue off a little bit, but there's a popular former NBA player that did a interview on a very popular podcast. Many people mirrored exactly what you just said that they feel, and it's just a small population, but it mirrored what you said. Oh, that was soft. You didn't go in. So when people say go in, does it mean throwing you under the bus, or do they mean the question should be more, I'm looking for the perfect word, because I don't want to say throw under the bus, but more, I don't want to say hardball, but more to what's going on and what more people may want to hear that they may not know.
Well, this is what it all boils down to. People on YouTube have personal vendettas, personal issues with individuals that they had a run-in with, or individual that did them wrong. And if you interview someone and individuals don't like the interview because you're not asking them the questions that they themselves would ask because they themselves became a victim of what this person did to them. And you see what I'm saying? So that's why I say again, you got a problem with somebody, you go confront them, because I can't speak for you. I don't know the intimacy of, you know what I'm saying? So I think it comes down to that. I think it's not so much that, I think it's that people are not hearing you ask questions that they would ask themselves because of their personal feelings about the person.
Okay.
So if I didn't like you, my sister, personally, and I said, well, she did me wrong, she doxed me a couple of years ago, and somebody interviews you, then I'm not going to like the interview if the interview makes you look good, because I say to myself, but you know what, she did this to me, and why didn't that person? Well, that person may not even know all them details.
Right, and that just happened to me recently.
Yeah,
I was on the hot seat, but a lot of people didn't know, as you mentioned, some of the details. So after that, it cleared it up for some, but there's some who still believe, no matter what you say, what they want to believe. D. Durrell said, I just wanted a balanced interview. I guarantee that if Umar, the personality of that interview would have been different. Again, I'm not really sure about all of that.
Let me just say this. I'm not Umar Johnson. So I'm not Umar Johnson. So therefore the interview would not come off as an Umar Johnson personality, because I'm not Umar Johnson. And obviously Umar Johnson would have a bone to pick with Honors because of the videos that Honors has produced on his channel. So therefore, let Umar come out of the clouds and go after him and come up on a panel and talk to him. That's not my job. I'm not Umar Johnson. I'm my own man, and I'm going to speak to my personality, not an Umar Johnson personality. Umar Johnson took my goddamn money over the years that I gave him money. So I would like to have my money back. Let's move on to something else, because this is getting
yes. After the money part, let's do that. So You had a very interesting interview or platform on Mexico and Shanquella Robinson. And I'm not sure if you've kept up on it. I'm sure you have. You're the information man. The latest that I've heard was the White House is being sought from the family to do more. Can they do more? Because number one, it's Mexico. And number two, what is possible, if anything, they could do? I have a video up if you would like me to share that, or did you just want to speak on it from your perspective?
You can share. Go ahead and share the video.
All right, thank you. Give me one moment. And everyone that's coming, thank you. P. Durrell, you are truly appreciated here. We've moved on from that. Maybe we'll have a panel on this one day if those would like to, but now we're going on to Mexico and Shanquella Robinson. Give me a moment. I will go ahead and present my screen. And those of you who have not subscribed to the Information Man, the pin is linked.
Oh, thank you.
And let able this article, and of course, there are going to be ads here, but I want to get to the actual portion of the article where it states, and everyone can read this, that some people may be at work or unable to see it. So I'll just read a portion. From Washington, the White House Thursday publicly addressed the death of Shanquella Robinson for the first time. Thursday, that right there. This is my opinion. You can chime in. Information Man Show. Why do you believe, if this is accurate, it's against the media, and we know how some media bend things, but Thursday was the first they publicly addressed the death of Shanquella? Further, quote, let me just first say, our hearts go out to Miss Robinson's family and friends. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said, quote, it is devastating what occurred. Again, everyone can read this at your leisure if you're interested. But your thoughts on that, Mr. Information Man Show?
This is more like it. This is up my alley. Let's get into the things that really matter instead of the low hanging fruit type stuff. I'm very concerned, my sister.
I'm sorry about the low hanging fruit. I just wanted to get that out the way.
No. When I say low hanging fruit, the other discussion that we were having that I don't think is as important as this sort of stuff that's happening in real time, the real black folks out here in the world. That's what I meant by that. No disrespect to you, because what you read was very important. I've been following this case for a very long time. I have videos on my channel around this. I actually interviewed the Empower Esquire, who's an attorney at law, and we discussed the legal ramifications of this. Now, we got to keep this in mind. And I just heard Judge Joe Brown talk about this on the Real Dana's show, and I'll be bringing him on my channel very soon. He said the problem is that the United States, which is going to be the same problem with what happened to the black folks, the 4 black folks, 2 of them that got deleted and the 2 that survived, is that America doesn't have any jurisdiction in Mexico. These things happen on Mexican soil, which means our courts here in America really have no control. Now, we were told a bill of goods in the beginning that the State Department was getting involved in this. And if the State Department was really serious about this with the FBI, you would think by now the family would be getting justice. You would think by now that the individual that was responsible for her deletion would be arrested. Now, some of us jumped out the window. I did too, because we got reports out of Mexico. And there was a Mexican reporter who said that she had been arrested and detained in Mexico, and that in Mexico they go about doing things differently in the way they report. But now we're finding out from Crump, the attorney Crump, that the family is still waiting for justice. And I'm going to tell you, it's a shame that the United States government has done nothing. And here we are in March,
Yes.
asking the department, the United States government, to get her out of this situation, to find some justice for the family. And I'm asking myself this. I thought the State Department was all over this, but now we're finding out the State Department ain't doing nothing. Because if the State Department was doing something, they wouldn't be pleading to Joe Biden. Another thing I'm going to say here.
Sure.
Black women voted. I'm particularly focused on black women right now. Black women voted for this administration at 93%. Black women for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris because he put Kamala Harris on the ticket. Black men voted for that administration at 83%. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden owe black women a hell of a lot because Shanquella Robinson is a black woman. She has a black mother. His ass is in office because of black women, black men, but black women primarily, the black Democratic vote. And it shows that we're getting nothing for our vote when they can't even do something about a crime that was committed last year.
Yes. And now you mentioned something earlier. And of course, the Honorable Judge Joe Brown, everyone, is running for the mayor of Memphis, Tennessee. You should see that on my description. I've had him on. And I asked that question earlier this week. So the question or the answer in short, which I'm researching, and you all can discuss that, was, what do they think they can be done? Something would have to be done to bestow USA jurisdiction. Otherwise, it's up to Mexico.
It's completely, according to Joe Brown, and I heard it out of his own mouth, there is really technically nothing the United States can do short of doing an invasion of Mexico. It's short of them going in there or deciding to say, you know what, we're going to prosecute those individuals here in America since Mexico didn't do it. But this is the problem. Yes, it's American citizens, but the crime did not happen on American soil.
Absolutely.
That's the problem. Same thing with what happened to the 4 black people that went over there from Bronxville, Texas into that part of Mexico and where the Gulf cartel is at. Same thing. What happened to them by Mexican citizens on Mexican soil. The United States has no jurisdiction, no courtroom has any authority to try those Mexican, cartel members. And last time I checked, when those so-called friends of Shanquella Robinson came back to North Carolina, the police were only looking for them to talk to them. There was no talk about we're going to arrest them. And I have to say this too, my sister.
Yes.
There is no black life in America isn't cared for. There's no value given to it. Just imagine if this was a white girl or some white people kidnapped in Mexico, or a white girl that was harmed by some friends in Mexico. What do you think would happen? What do you think the priority would be?
I think we know from history what past priorities were.
Right. There is no love or value of black life in America because black women go missing left and right and nobody talks about it. We had the Gabby Patel. When she went missing, millions of people knew about it.
Yes.
Yeah, millions of people knew about it. CNN, Fox, all of them, they played it every day ad nauseum, every day. Boom, 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 boom. They were in a hunt to find the white boy that did her in, right? It was all over every day. Black women go missing, black girls go missing. You hear a couple of slip-ups and no more.
Trafficking is paramount now. AH says the system does what it wants. Believe it was some mainstream person of note at the State Department would have acted up. Now, let me segue into this. I also asked a question of the Honorable Judge Joe Brown, and I wanted to see if there was a correlation. We all remember Brittany Griner and the
Yeah.
swap, and how the family and the coaches did the same thing. They did this plea to the White House and State Department. But his expertise responded. One was the diplomatic process to get a release from the exercise of Russian law. This latest, which means Shanquella Robinson and these other individuals in Mexico, is to get Mexicans to exercise theirs. So there's no swap. It's different.
I think Brittany Griner, the thing about the Brittany Griner situation with Russia is that it was political. And because she was a basketball player, she was well known and she had been on the Olympic team. It was because she had a name, and Shanquella Robinson is just some sister that lives in North Carolina, young lady that was a businesswoman. But then you got this person who was an athlete, well known. And I gotta be honest, I'm probably wrong for saying this.
No,
I don't think that Brittany Griner being a member of the LGBT community, that didn't help her. That didn't hurt her either, because it became political. Because why? Oh, you got this. Because what is it? What's the politicalness behind it? It's a black woman and a gay black woman who you got behind enemy lines, and then you have that war going on over there, right? So it was a duality to it. That one, she was gay. Two, she was a woman. And she was black, all rolled up into one. It was political. Whereas Shanika Robinson, they probably saw her as just some roundaway girl, going down there to have a good time, shake your booty fun, and who cares? Because there's no political meat that you can sink your teeth into with the Shanquella Robinson situation. There's nothing political to work with there.
Sadly.
You just have a young lady who was living her best life and she got harmed. And in their minds, Negroes do this to each other all the time. Who cares?
And that's the sad part of this narrative. Same thing, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I just want to throw another name out. The Alexis Ware case. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but she's been missing for well over a year now. Nothing. So, again, a lot of us are being trafficked, we're lost. I read a case, Mr. Carter. I'm not sure if you've delved into that yet. You may have. A modern day lynching. Dismembered.
I've heard of. Yeah, he was dismembered.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying in the beginning, we have so many other important things that we should be worrying about as black people on YouTube, besides going after one another. And it's wrong on either side that do it. No one's perfect, but these are the issues that we need to be paying more attention to, because I look at it like this. There are family members out here who are not getting enough press by the mainstream press. We know that social media has powerful gravity to it. So do you know what it means to these family members to see us do these stories? We're helping them to get the word out organically. Because we know that CBS, Fox News, Propaganda News, MSNBC, they're not going to push these stories about our people. So by us doing it, we're actually helping these family members, and we may not even know them from a pane of glue, but we're helping them. Do you know it makes them happy to know? I was involved, check this out, maybe 2 years ago, or maybe early last year. There was a community in Tennessee, in Memphis, Tennessee, that was a black community that was about to get taken over and marginalized And I did a big story about it, and I got their vice mayor on my channel, and they were happy that we were promoting it because nobody was talking about what was happening. Because they were what was happening is that they was moving a company, I think it was a tire company or some car company, into the community, which the community was gonna stand to make a lot of money. So then the white community that was segregated from them was like, oh, we want to incorporate everything now and bring you guys into our community. Why? Because of the money. They didn't want this black town to benefit from the millions and billions of dollars that would grow the town. So the white town that never gave a damn about them, all of a sudden they wanted to break their charter and try to absorb them into their town. Why? Because of the money and the jobs. And I did that story while Negroes are running around on YouTube talking about nonsense.
Yes. And unfortunately, that happens a lot. And we have excellent content creators that have been in this chat. Again, everyone has their opinion. They have a right to their opinion, but they are talking about issues that are conducive, that are meant to uplift and edify. Your show, in my opinion, is one of them.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Oh, you're very welcome. I mean, I viewed it and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know you were into so many stories. AH says, people used to know that they had to answer to folks when the person or people with them got hurt or disappeared, and they were afraid to be accountable. Do you remember the Atlanta child murders?
Yes, I grew up around that time.
Oh my gosh.
It deeply disturbed me. Deeply. Everything about that Atlanta child murder.
May remember that, but that I was little at the time, but I remember it. Oh my God.
Did you know this little tad bit about the Atlanta child murders, my sister? And I hope that you remember this. It's a sad situation. Do you know that they found out that a majority, if not all, of the boys and the young black men that were found deleted, that they had something missing? Their scrotums were removed, their private parts were removed, almost akin to what the Ku Klux Klan used to do to us. That's why a lot of black folks in Atlanta question whether it was the brother that they pinned it on, because everything about it was reminiscent to what the Klan was doing to black people in the past. Yes, a lot of those young black males were found with missing parts of their body, particularly mainly the scrotum in the private area. And we know through documented history, it was the Ku Klux Klan that would take the private parts off of black men and make rabbit's foots out of them. I kid you not.
All right, I'm getting ready to look this up really quick. The timeline. Williams is the individual.
Right.
Wayne Williams.
There were some people in the community, not all, but some that didn't believe that he did it, because there were some that thought that it was something it was the Klan, it was crooked cops. And we never, to this very day, we never really got complete answers. And it was the people that lived in Atlanta where it got out there that, you know what, some of these kids, because stuff was being leaked. What I'm telling you right now, the news didn't officially come on television and say this stuff got leaked by people that lived in the community, that, hey, these black boys are not only being snatched up and killed, but they're also having their private parts taken away. Jeffrey Dahmer, do you know that the Milwaukee police knew that Jeffrey Dahmer had black men coming in and out of his house? And there had been people in the community that were telling them there's something not right about this white guy. And they didn't do anything until by happenstance they discovered he had got sloppy and he had stuff inside the house that gave them a notion that, wait a minute, is he chopping people up in here? But the black community was asking for help a long time while Jeffrey Dahmer was doing what he was doing.
So, with that knowledge, political again? Or, no, seriously, political or brown and black people lives, not really
valued. There's we as black people know, and we know that we have value, but unfortunately the larger society doesn't see value in us, and you can see that historically over the years. You can see it currently now. And don't think because they let Miss Grimes come back to America that was a sign that they value us. No, that was a sign of the politics.
And pressure.
Right, and pressure. And check this out. As long as black people, and I have to say this, as long as black people are also harming other black people, why would the larger society really give a damn about our lives when they know that we're also harming ourselves? Meaning we're doing each other in.
Okay. Empress is giving you much respect.
Oh, thank. She's a mod on my channel. Thank you, sister.
Oh, absolutely. And she said, I first started following his remand show when he was covering the Ahmaud Arbery case.
Yeah, I covered that. Yeah, pretty heavily. I was on top of that.
Wow.
Yeah, I've covered a lot of stuff. I've covered a lot of stuff.
Your catalog, because I'm only doing the current events. So, and I spoke to Information Man about that case. I'm from Georgia. Well, welcome, Georgia.
She actually lived, if I'm not mistaken, she actually lives in the area, close to the area where he was slain in the way he was. And she actually knows Ahmaud Arbery's father. She sees him in the community. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So she was very close to that situation down there. That was a shame. Horrible. Let's not, I want you to do this too. Let's not forget Tatiana Jefferson, the young lady in Dallas, Texas, who was at home with her nephew playing video games. They claim that it was a warfare call. The police show up. They shoot shoot their guns through her window while she's wondering who the hell is outside disturbing her at that late of night. And she died. Remember that case?
No.
That happened right after the Baton John case, who got shot by the police officer who lied and said she thought she was going in her apartment, and she shot him while he was eating ice cream in his living room watching TV. What a shame.
Okay, I'm trying to find that case. Perhaps I'm spelling the name wrong.
It's okay, sister.
Wow.
But it's Tatiana Jefferson was her name.
Jefferson. Okay.
Right. I think they've already I think they got rid of those police. They held them accountable. It took a long time. And what's sad about it is that her neighbor, he felt really guilty because he was the one that made the phone call for the welfare check. And he said, I wish I never had called the police in the first place to come over here and check on her. And when they shot her young nephew, he witnessed it. So he's got all kind of psychological issues that he's dealing with right now as a young man.
And you said this was this perhaps Dallas-Fort Worth?
Yeah, I believe it's in Dallas-Fort Worth. It was in the same city where Baton John was taken out of here too while eating ice cream on his living room couch, watching TV. Damn shame.
So what I'm looking at is a Tatiana Jones that begins with an A.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Tatiana Jones.
No problem. I said, I'm going to find this, so I'm going to go ahead and post that. That is
Tatiana Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Tatiana Jefferson.
God, this is horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happened a couple years back. I covered that story.
I never heard about it until just now.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on.
Okay.
I covered that story.
AH says, it would be good to go and listen to Dick Gregory's statements about the Atlanta child murders and the controversy. Your thoughts on that, sir?
I agree with him, and I believe that Dick Gregory, who I love dearly, I believe that Dick Gregory was one of the ones who also put that information out there about them taking the private parts off these young black males. He was getting inside information.
Now, do you believe, because we've heard of harvesting, do you believe that could have been the beginning or grandfathering in? Because I don't believe any of this is new.
They've been harvesting black people's organs and our DNA since the day one they brought us over here. They've been trying to figure out how they can reconstruct the melanin, all the secrets in our bodies so that they can look, check this out. Can somebody help me in the chat room? Do you know what is the name of the family whose, I think it was their grandmother or their aunt at John Hopkins? They took the DNA, rare DNA from a black woman. And John Hopkins got rich off of this DNA. It's the DNA code that has opened the door to all the different cures and medical treatments that we're benefiting from today. Empress Goddess, if you can remember that woman's name, because it fades me, but you can look it up. She had rare DNA, and the family to this very day has been trying to hold them accountable because they have got no money. They've got no proceeds. They've made no money off of this university patenting that DNA to be used in various medical miracles that we have today. It's just like, so the DNA, they used it, never paid the family no money, no royalty, no nothing. And the family's still fighting them to this very day. I can't, God, I wish I knew the name. I can't think of the name. Can somebody help me? Henrietta Lacks.
Thank you, AH.
Thank you. I want everybody that's here, if you don't know the details of this, go look at that story. It's horrible. This is an example of body snatching.
John Hopkins, are you speaking about in Maryland?
Yeah, John Hopkins is located in Baltimore, Maryland. That's my hometown where I was born. John Hopkins is located.
I'm in Maryland.
You're in Maryland?
And this is the segue I'm going into. God is so good how he puts people. I just got chills. John Hopkins, NIH, the FDA, so on and so forth. It's the central hub of the no, I'm not saying anything, you two, but
yeah,
see what I'm doing.
Right, the little special mixture.
And during the time where there was a push for these mass locations, they were in the Montgomery County area. So people, please wake up. I'm not saying not to do what you feel you need to do for your families, but open your third eye and look at the contributions made to some of these companies. Look at these stock holders. Look at the rise in these stocks. And remember, and then I'll get back onto what you were speaking of. Biden said in 2020, before Fauci stepped down, this pandemic is over. Fauci stepped in and said, you may have misspoken. Just last week, I did a live where the Republicans in the House having a C-19 investigation, and they were pointing the fingers at the Democrats and the former President Trump. Your thoughts on that, and we'll go forward. I'm sorry.
Everybody knows. No. It's just I'm because this is
so much.
It's a lot to take in, but it's a lot that has to be said. In a nutshell, I say this all the time on my channel. There's no difference between a Democrat and a Republican. The two birds are the same wings. Democrats screw you with Vaseline, Republicans screw you without Vaseline. In the end, you still get screwed. One promises social programs and all these different things, and they still screw us. Look at all these cities around the country that are run by Democrats, like Chicago, for example. Look at how they've been running to the ground because these Democrats just take our votes for granted. And then the Republicans, they're no different because the Republicans, they don't provide policy. They don't talk policy to us. They just talk philosophy. So both these parties, in my mind, are the blame for a lot of the problems that we have in our society. Our political system has been broken for a long time in this country. Why? Because there's too much money in it. It's too much personal interest. This
Yes.
money.
And Baltimore, do you remember when I did a live on this not too long ago? And I do not understand why too much hasn't been said, or to me, virtually swept under the mat. We had two people, one from Maryland, and I forgot, I think the other person was from Florida, but the one from Maryland is a woman. They were charged with conspiring to blow up or take out Baltimore
Oh
by
my
the power
God.
grid. Do you remember that story? If not, I'll
Yeah.
post it up again. What happened
Yes,
to
Evan.
the coverage on that? And this was maybe a week or two after the train derailment in Ohio.
It's a damn shame.
Anybody thinking about the correlation with that? Because Ohio is not that far from Baltimore.
Right.
And they said it was a hate group. Okay. Where are the charges? Are there any terrorism charges? Hasn't even been put on the table yet.
Right.
Baltimore. You know Baltimore is majority
Black city. Yeah. But you do know, sister, that they have what they call it was reported in Chicago. They have what they call black what's the name for it? They have these imprisonments in these cities where they can snatch you off the streets, put you in a black op prison or somewhere that nobody knows. They don't have to read you your rights. There was an article, there was something that came out in Chicago that they said that Chicago has these black sites where people are not heard of anymore. I bet you they have such places like that in Baltimore, not that far from DC. So if you want to silence people, you just snatch them up, take them away. Because remember, they wrote in all of this anti-terrorism bills that they're using on black people. Remember when Bush was in office and they came up with the Patriot Act? We forget about the Patriot Act. And they signed that into law late at night. Most of the Congress didn't even read it. And in that Patriot Act, they can enact martial law on you. Snatch you up off the street. Some dark van comes driving up on you. And now you're in some black site that nobody knows where you are. There are people in Chicago that believe that that's been in Chicago for a long time.
Chicago.
Yes,
Wow.
because there's been people that's gone missing in Chicago, and people are saying, how did this person go missing? We know that they're not into this and not into that. And then there's been rumors that there's black sites in Chicago. I believe that there's black sites in all major black cities where black people live. There's a brother that talked about, check out this, when you get a chance, my sister, check out Rex 85. It's a contingency plan that the government has put in place that if black people get out of control, if there's uprises and there's a state of emergency within urban settings where black people live, that they have a plan to put our ass in underground bunkers. It's called Rex 85. I got a video on my channel. There's a brother that speaks about it. It's a contingency plan on how to deal with the urban environment if there's ever an uprise. I'm gonna find it and put it in the chat room.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and recognize those that are coming in, because this is a lot of information. Very important. Again, thank you, Empress Goddess Spiritual AG, the Glow. You haven't already, make sure that you like, please subscribe, and please share this very important video. AH, always coming in with the gems. King BJ. Who else is in here? And those who may be watching from the bushes, D. Durrell, Thank you again, Andrea Smith, one of my awesome mods. And
This is what I'm going to
anyone
do.
else I may have missed? Shikan, Meryl J, I saw earlier. Mahogany Roots, Black Knight Mustang. I know you're enjoying this beautiful day. And let's see. It's me, Laurie. Welcome and thank you. And I believe that's everyone. If I missed anyone, and I'm praying that I haven't, my apologies, but I will go back towards the end of this broadcast to make sure that I didn't. But right now we're speaking about the Atlanta child murders, harvesting, John Hopkins, and Henrietta Locke, I believe, was the name of the individual. Oh, thank you, Empress. And I'll put that in there as well. And looking for Rex 85. Everyone will have something.
I'm looking it up. I did a video about this. I might have something written wrong in it. I'm going to dig it up as the interview continues,
Sure.
so that I can give people reference points on this information.
Absolutely. So, as far as the 4 kidnapped, I'm sorry, the sun is going down. Hopefully everyone can still see me. Sure you can. As long as you can hear me, that's fine. The 4 that were kidnapped, I read and viewed your video on that in its entirety. Can you break that down as if you're reacting to your own video? Because some of the questions you had, you went in extremely hard, but it was more so provocative to make, or to attempt to make people open their eyes and think.
Well,
and this sun is about to make my eyes water. Continue to
the
speak.
thing that bothers me about the whole case is, one, they drove all the way from Brownville, Texas, into an area of Mexico, which is a border town. And the State Department and many other authorities have warned people to stay away from these border town areas of Mexico, which are laden with these Mexican mafia or these cartels. And the cartels are very dangerous, obviously. And I'm wondering, okay, did they go down there legitimately for a tummy tuck and that was it? Or was there something else going on here? Because cartels normally attack people in general who are engaging and interfering in what they're doing in terms of their drug trafficking. They will eliminate you. So I'm wondering, well, what was that all about? Then you have to look at the fact that all 4 of these individuals didn't have the most stellar background in terms of they have had some involvement in drugs. I believe Miss Latavia has had some issues as it relates to with her kids and what have you, but they don't deserve what had happened to them. But I'm just trying to make sense of this. Black people going down to this area. They were already stopped one time by police at night, which I have on my program, where the police were looking to bribe them out of money. And they were saying, hey, these police it's on the video, these police are trying to bribe us out of $1,500. And they said, we don't have drugs, we don't have this. So they already had been going down, they had already been harassed by the police authorities down there. And the police and the cartel are one and the same, because the cartel control the police, they control politicians. And then another caveat I'll lay on the table, because I know this information intimately. The Mexican mafia has a green light on black people, particularly in California, over the drug trade. I talked about that in the video.
Okay, can you expound on green light over black people?
A green light. A green light is basically a green light is telling your lieutenants and those that you command, and the lieutenants are going to give this to the gang structure, the disruptive groups. The disruptive groups are the gangs, telling them we want that territory in California because Mexico, they believe that California belongs to them and that it was always a part of them, just like Texas. So the green light is that any black people that get in your way, you eliminate them. So when you go to Southern California and you hear, this is what happens. You hear about young black men being deleted and you say, oh, it's a gang related shooting. No, it wasn't. You'll find out that young black man was college bound. He played on the football team. He was just walking home, minding his own business. And because of these gangs, these Serrano gangs in Southern California that are adhering to the Mexican mafia and the cartels, they go out there and they eliminate any black person trying to get them out of the community, intimidate them, force them out. And then you have a young black male who's not a gang member, but when he's shot, the Los Angeles News and police will write it down as a gang-related shooting when it had nothing to do with a gang because he wasn't in a gang. Then you have Mexican young men who want to join the gang, and part of their initiation is you got to go around and find someone to delete. So they normally do what? Delete black people. There was a couple years ago, there were some black people living in a housing project in a place called Baldwin Hills in Los Angeles. They were throwing martini cocktails through the window to get this small number of black people that were living in a neighborhood that the Hispanic or the Mexican population was trying to control. So the goal is to push us out. Black people live in places like Long Beach, California, push them out there. Use the gang structures to create a problem between black people and them with the goal of eliminating them. Not to mention you got gentrification going on in Los Angeles, which is pushing black people further and further out. So the Mexican mafia, these hierarchy gang groups, or the cartel or the Mexican mafia, they want to set up shop in areas that black people traditionally lived in. And the goal is to push us out, to eliminate us, which is why I said in my video, there is no black and brown coalition. So we go over to Mexico, running around over there, thinking that we got some kinship with Mexican people. They don't give a damn about us. So those black people going over there, they were a target. And they probably been watching them going over there for a number of months or whatever time that they've been going over there. So my question is, did they get killed? Did they delete them because they were black? Did they delete them because they got tired of seeing them over there? Did they delete them as just simply as we're going to rob them and then take them out? Or did they delete them because they felt that they were interfering with their drug trade? Now, the rumor in the media put out there that the cartels believed that those 4 black people were part of a Haitian gang in competition with them.
So with the Haitians, would you like to expound on that relationship, or how much credence you may put into that, if any?
There is a drug trade in Haiti. There are Haitian gangs that operate through Mexico. That is true. Because you've had all those Haitians that you saw over there in, I think it was El Paso, Texas, that the United States government swooped up. Check this out. You got Mexicans and Central Americans that are hanging all over our damn border here in California. And the government hasn't swooped them up and send them back to where they came from. They're saying, no, give these people asylum. The Haitians come over there. They're under a bridge or a freeway over there at El Paso. And what did the United States government do within 2 to 3 days? They swooped all those black people up, put them on planes, and send them right back to Haiti. And some of those black people hadn't been in Haiti for over 10 years because they were the black people that were originally invited to come to the United States by way of Brazil because of the earthquake that happened in Haiti years ago. So they went over to Brazil to work. When the jobs dried up there, they were told, hey, we can let you into America if you can make the trip over here. America didn't lay out any planes for them. They walked over there just like the Central Americans did. And when they got there, they got treated poorly and removed. You saw the videos where the patrolmen are on horses and it looked like something out of a damn slave movie. But yet the Central Americans and the Mexicans, they can stay at our border and be told, you have to wait your term to see if you can get asylum. Nobody swoops them up. So now, when you look at that, you say, what make black people think that we're going to be treated well in Mexico in border towns where the cartel has its layers? Then you got the Haitians who come over there simply because they want to get into America. And then you have some Haitians that are involved in a drug trade. Well, every black person looks alike. The Mexicans are not going to distinguish between, oh, that's an American black person, don't mess with them, just look for the Haitian. No, if you're black, you must get back, and therefore they're going to deal with you accordingly, whether you're Haitian, Nigerian, South American, whatever the hell, they're going to deal with you accordingly.
Andrea says, perfect reason. I've never had desire to travel just no farther than I can spit. Andrea, you dropped jewels last night and you come right back in. Good day, dropping. I have a fun fact for you, Information Man, and those in the chat. Did you know early on in the Ukraine war, a particular government agency funded for thousands upon thousands of Ukraine refugees? Just want to let you know that. Did you know that?
Well, once again, it's political. The United States is letting all these other people come over and telling us, people that look like us, you got to get back. It's political.
And might I add, a lot of these rumors and investigations of the origin of C-19 and the funding, they all tie together.
It's all tied together. You're absolutely right.
I know some people may say, oh, you're just blowing wind. No, I know for sure. And I'm not going deep into it, but trust me, it's all tied together. And technically, it's right in front of your face. You just have to open your eyes and watch, read.
That's true. That's true.
Now, you were speaking about the cartel and what with the Haitians. Do you see this as cultural? Do you see this continuing? What should those who really desire, and you have a lot who do, to travel, what would you, from your perspective, say or advise rather?
Well, I would advise what the State Department advised. I think if you're going to go to, I've been to Mexico a few times myself. If you're going to go to Mexico, you need to stay in the tourist areas. You need to stay in the designated areas that are designed for you to have a proper tour of the community, out of the areas where the cartels control. If I go to Mexico and I start venturing out into areas in Mexico that I have no understanding of, it's like, for example, it's like going to a major city here in America. When I was in Baltimore with my family, my uncle said, this is the neighborhood you do not want to go into if you're a black person. You stay away from this area. Well, now I'm up on game. So I know I shouldn't go in these areas because this can happen. I'm not saying we're supposed to live in fear, but you should know the territory that you're in. I lived in Oakland. I know the areas in Oakland that you don't want to go into. I know the areas of Oakland that are fine. I can go into certain areas where I grew up at because people know me. But if people don't know you and you don't know the area, you should stay the hell out of it. Case in point, I'm not going to go to Mexico and go into areas of Mexico that I know nothing about, that they know about, and it could be an area where people get killed all the time, and you wouldn't know that because you're trying to go over there and get a booty enhancement, get a breast enhancement, a back enhancement or whatever goddamn enhancement. Money that we should be putting in our child's education fund.
And catch up to some of these comments. AH, you do not want to be in the tourist areas unless you have the money, and you will spend the money on staying secure.
Right. He's right.
Out loud.
He's right.
Thank you,
when I went, I took a cruise down there. So when you take a cruise, you take you pay for like a package for snorkeling and horseback ride, all the different things. And during that process, we had security. They brought us into areas that the police and the people, they heavily guard because they don't want to lose. You know that America tourism is a big hunk of the Mexican economy.
Absolutely.
So they don't want, this is why they're being slow on the Shanquella Robinson situation, because Mexico doesn't want Americans to say, I'm through with coming over there. They don't want to lose that money. So when it comes to the tourist areas, they're going to be heavily guarded about the places that they're taking you to. Mm-hmm. Now, once again, if you deviate from that and be talking about, I want to do a back roads trip, you're on your own. You're on your own. You're on your own.
Same thing in Washington, D.C. Even though it is heavily gentrified now, there are some places where I have to go, but I'm very careful. If my gut tells me you may want to return another day, because you may not know this, but they know who's not from that area. You have people in the alleys, you have people up on the roofs, and I'm not trying to bring a New Jack City feel to this, but this is real. This is real talk.
It is
you
real.
Stick out like a sore thumb because the people who are out doing unsavory things, they know a new or different vehicle, new or different face. Whether your vehicle is tinted or not, they know. They know the times of days. This is elementary to many people. Right.
And let me add this to it as well, sister.
Yes, sir.
You can go anywhere in the world. First, let's start with basics here. By default, being an American and having a passport as an American, you are already a target. So, for example, I have my passport right here. Right? I know when I travel around the world, because I'm American and people perceive that Americans have a lot of money, that we're all living rich over here, you automatically are a target more than any other citizen in the world. Americans are targeted more than anybody in the world because of where we come from, right? But Mexico is like number one on the list. It's like up there in the high charts of a country where there's high numbers of kidnapping especially in those border towns that they went into. So if you're going to travel as a black person, you need to be aware of where you're going, what's going on, and how you should conduct yourself. The problem with Americans is that when we go to other countries, we want to act like we still American. We want to act like we still in America. No, you're in another country. So all that American shit's got to go out the door because it don't apply no more. You see, because you're in another country. When you go to Brazil, I have family in Brazil. When you go to Brazil, dress like the people dress. When you dress, you go over there with chains around your neck and fancy rings and all this old fancy stuff. You stand out like a sore thumb. Most of the people in Brazil, the majority of the population look like me and you. Go over there and blend in. Wear your shorts, look regular. Don't stand out. Because they talk about this. Things that you should do when you travel to avoid someone trying to mug you.
Exactly.
I'm not going to places like, for example, Brazil or any place like that with a damn Louis Vuitton bag on me. You're asking to get robbed.
And can we speak briefly on posting up your locations
Oh, that's dumb. I'll post up my location, but guess what? I won't be there anymore. I'll be there and then I'll post it up after I've been gone.
We have a culture where that's increasing because social media, you want to show people you're enjoying yourself, but you have that population who will only look for you when you're at those places, but people who may not like you in your own hometown. Oh, you're out of town. You come home, open your door up, you look for your furniture to sit down. Or someone you may have left behind, and others who are looking may be deleted.
It's I just think we got to move, no matter what your race is, you got to move very cautiously when you travel. And black people, we definitely got to move a certain kind of way because we stand out wherever we go in the world, because we live in a world when people see someone that's black, they're like, whoa, we never seen it. If I was to go to China, if we were to go to China, for example, right now, we'll stick out like a sore thumb. Everybody be looking and pointing. Hey, black people, because they're not used to seeing us, right? They see a lot of the Africans that travel over there and work over there, but they're not used to seeing us out and about. They're used to seeing us on our knees scrubbing something or sweeping something because, you know, when the Africans come over there, they put them into working and stuff and domestic type work. They go over there for it. Not all Africans, but some, because when that so-called virus hit, guess what China did? Remember, they kicked all the Africans, all the Nigerians out of their country, told them to get the hell out. And they blamed them for something that I personally believe they responsible for, but that's another story.
Absolutely. Now we have a couple of more topics coming up. Would you be willing to answer any questions if anyone has any?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to drop the link, everyone. Make sure that they're respectful, and the host is up to his discretion whether or not he wants to entertain it or not. So please be mindful of that. I'll drop the link really quickly. And again, his page, if you have not subbed up yet, is pinned. So please make sure you do that. And make sure you're very welcome. Please make sure you like and share this video. There's a lot of information given, a lot of information some of you may not even have known of. And I do one day, when you have time, get a panel together to speak about harvesting and origin, because this is, I didn't know that about the Atlanta child murders. I've looked at the case. I remember when my mother was actually crying, and like I said, I was a little girl, but I did not know the integral details, and that's really disgusting to me. It's almost it's unfathomable, to say the least, and the lack of light that's given on to these cases. There's a lot of organizations geared towards those that are missing, but unfortunately, I don't know if it's due to funding. I don't know what your thoughts of that is, or is it apathy? I don't want to believe that, but there's a disparity.
Yeah, I believe there's a disparity. These are things that are not being addressed, which is why I have a problem with people who feel that black people, we should not get reparations. You know, if we got a reparations bill or payment, it, in my opinion, it could solve what is our biggest ill in the black community? We have no generational wealth. Now, of course, you're going to always have black people. I don't know why black people say this crap. Oh, if you give black people money, oh, they're going to give. Well, guess what? Worry about your money and I'll worry about my money.
Right. I
Whatever
think a
people
lot
want to
of
do,
people.
whatever they want to do with their money, they'll do it. With me, I'm gonna invest it. I'm gonna create different accounts. I'm gonna give money to a family. I'm gonna first pay off all my bills. There's gonna be black people that are gonna do the right thing with their money. There's gonna be black people that are gonna do the wrong thing with their money. What make you think that there's not other groups that got a reparations payment and they didn't screw off some of their money in their culture? But we ain't worried
Absolutely.
about them, so why are we worried about what we're gonna do? See, because deep down inside, that's because black people, we don't believe that we're gonna get the reparations. So because you don't believe it psychologically, then you must put in the air of doubt by saying, well, if we get the money, we ain't gonna do nothing with it. Well, I can do a
Right.
lot with that money.
Right. And if you look back, there are people talking about, well, it'll be just like some of the people in Hurricane Katrina. But we have a guest, Mr. Shad Killings. Mr. Killings,
Hello, man,
welcome.
and hello, Mr. Information, man.
Hey, how you doing,
Welcome,
sir?
sir. I'll mute
How
my
you
I'm
mic.
doing?
Thank you for
I'm
joining, sir.
I'm fine, y'all. Yes, I came over. You remember when I was on the stream from George? So that's how I found you, bro. I'm glad to be subscribed to your channel,
Oh,
and
thank you. Appreciate that.
yes, but about the topic, and I was just gonna touch on what you said about reparations because I don't know if you know about Tariq and the FBA thing, but
Um,
you have a lot of fellow FBAs that even don't that would even say we don't need it because they they are afraid that it's counterproductive and most of us gonna trick it off on Ferraris and things of that nature. But if we
right.
got reparations, like I'd be buying land in certain places and building houses and renting them and Airbnb them out because I want to own a house, you know. So I wouldn't do nothing dumb with my money.
Right. I'm very familiar. I have a category on my channel called reparations. I've had many guests on my channel around the reparations issue. I'm intimately involved in that issue. I live in California. I know a lot of the people from CJAC, like Brother Chris, Matt Imram, Mass Media. I'm going to be doing a reparations show tomorrow about what happened, what's going on in San Francisco. I actually lived in San Francisco for years. The community in San Francisco, I know it intimately. And Dr. Amos, Reverend Amos Brown, who is, I guess, the chair of the NAACP there in San Francisco, I actually know him. I've talked to him. I've had debates with him. So I am going to touch on that issue. I would say to you, brother, don't listen to people who talk like that, because like I said, on a psychological way, they don't want to see black people. These are black people who don't want to see black people win. Look. If you get the money, I get the money, and that gives us the ability to create opportunity. We can educate our people on how to manage their money. Hell, we got people on YouTube right now who got big channels. My man, Pocket Watching. We got people on YouTube that black people listen to for advice on financing, and they got YouTube channels. So imagine if we had that type of money, what large scale could we educate our people on how to manage their money? But at the same time, it's not my job to tell the next man and woman, you shouldn't get this because you're going to spend. I don't know what they're going to do. White folks mismanage their money. What you think this SVB banking situation is? White folks be screwing up. I'm not yelling at you personally. It's just my passion. White folks have been screwing up money in this country for God knows how long. Look at the deficits that we're in. Look at the banks that are all out of whack. Look at the Federal Reserve that ain't even federal. Guess who runs that? White people run it. Yet black people spend this time talking about, well, black people don't know how to manage money. White folks don't know how to manage money because they got the whole goddamn country all in a deficit. And they owe
Right.
China a whole bunch of money.
Hey, I'm so glad you brought up that point because people overlook that. People really overlook that, and a lot of people they just you know they just look at what black folks doing, but they ain't looking at things on a larger scale.
Right.
But I want to say this: I believe we are going to get reparations as long as like these folks don't press a button and get mad, press a button and blow up the world because some
Yeah.
people. Yeah, as long as that don't happen, I do see us getting reparations. I don't know how
Right.
long it'll be. I don't know how long it'll be, but I definitely see it, especially with what's going on in California and San
Right.
Francisco, because there's a lot of momentum out there. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as long as black people don't get scared and and stay on that issue. And I wish it would go nationwide. I don't just want to see it in California, but that's a great start
Well,
because there's a lot of homeless black people and homeless
right.
people in general in California. But
Well,
we're talking
check
about
this out. San Francisco, the homeless population in San Francisco, where I used to live, is about 33 to 38. About 33% of the homeless is black, and only 6% of the population in San Francisco is black. So when they start talking about, well, we can't give these black people money, we ain't even a majority population. Our population over there has dwindled down because people have moved out. It's too damn expensive to live out there, right? And then keep this in mind. White people have had the most generational wealth, and it's white people who put together banks like the Silicon Valley Bank that has gone belly up. And I don't see anybody in the world saying white folks don't know how to manage the money. White folks is gambling the money. That's a white establishment. Wall Street's a white establishment, and all it is a gambling house. They're gambling your money. And yet
hey,
we sit up here and talk about black folks managing our money.
yeah,
It's
and
crazy,
like
man.
it's yeah, I want to ask you real quick, if you don't mind. I know you're originally from Baltimore. How many years you been in California now?
I've been in California too many years. So basically, in a nutshell, I went to high school here, elementary school here, and college here in California. However,
Basically,
over the years, I would go back and forth and visit my father and brother and family members that live in the Baltimore, Maryland area, DC area. So I would go back and forth. But a
oh,
lot of my rearing was here in California, particularly in the neighborhood of Fillmore, in the area where they're talking about black people in San Francisco with this reparations. It's very personal to me what's going on out there. My mom lives out there. My mom would be entitled to those reparations.
yeah, I know that's right, man.
And so I think that this California reparations program is a blueprint for the rest of the country. You see that they're doing reparations in, believe it or not, they got an Oregon. You've got what's that? I think Boston, Massachusetts is talking about a program. So I think what's happening is that it's causing a buzz for people in their various states to say, wait a minute, we can put something together like this. So I think it's going to have great effects. Now, the national reparations program is going to be in still stead right now because one, the Republicans control the House. And when I look at the numbers on them, the Republicans have no desire for any reparations whatsoever. The Democrats are playing around with us too damn much. That's a problem.
Yeah.
I want to read you something because this is from Peer Research. I'm going to be talking about this on my channel tomorrow. It says right here, Republicans are 91%. And this, I'm going to give you the year this was taken in. I'm going to tell you what this is the 77% of black Americans compared with 18% of white Americans support reparations for descendants of enslaved people. All right. The United States adults who say descendants of people enslaved in the United States should be repaid. Check this out. White people say no at 80%. 18% of white people say yes. 17% of black people say no. Those are the raccoons, I would say. Then you got 77% of black people say yes. But check this out, but behind party lines. The Republicans are 91% saying no to it. 8% of them say yes to it. Democrats are at 49-48, meaning 49 of them say no and 48 say yes. See, they're all in the middle with the bullshit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I wanted to say something about reparations also. Like I noticed, like for the few states you name, like a lot of them are states where the black population statewide ain't even 2%. Like I don't like I find it strange that that the conversation is popping up in states such as Massachusetts, Oregon, and states, where
Right. Well,
rarely black.
remember, these are liberal run states who are usually just doing what? They're trying to please black voters. So they
Yeah,
want
like
to give us all these trinkets and say, oh, go ahead, brother.
yeah, because I'm from Georgia. I'm still here, and I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna move eventually because I wanna be near the beach and stuff. But but yeah, I'm just saying, like, I wish we seen a state that's talking about reparations somewhere in the South, because the South just seems so sleep and not conscious
Yeah.
about these issues for some
Yeah.
reason.
I would think that the South would be the first place it would happen. You know why? There
Why?
are because there are bigger black the black population is bigger in the South. I did a couple of videos on my channel with a friend of mine, where we were talking about, should black people leave the West Coast, meaning California, to
Yeah.
go to the South? Should black people leave Detroit, the Rust Belt states, and go back to the South, where our numbers are bigger and stronger? And if our numbers are bigger and stronger in the South, we could actually have more political power. Most black people who live scattered in New York and places like Chicago and California, our numbers are scattered. We will never have political power in these kind of communities. There are black folks are already being gentrified out of Chicago little by little, right? But if we're concentrated in the southern parts of this country, we have bigger numbers, stronger numbers. We become a stronger voting bloc. That's the argument for exodusing from the north and the west to the south. That's
Hey,
the argument for it.
I remember you doing the video on that, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't tune in,
It's
but I
okay.
do. Yeah, I do want to say this though, because like a lot of people, well, not, I don't even want to say a lot of people, but I see here and there you have black people, thinking that it's, black people from outside the South should mass migrate, like reverse migrate back.
Yeah,
I don't
revert
like.
migration.
Yes, I don't like that idea, simply for the fact, because like I love the West Coast, and like when I go out there, I want to see my people. Like, I don't want it to feel like I'm in another country within my own country, because we all are concentrated in the South. You know what I'm saying? But I get it's probably bigger than that. But just for that
Right.
reason, like, yeah, I really, I don't.
Let me just say this, and Jason Black talks about this too from the Black Channel. Part of the problem in California, and I've lived here for years, is that overall economically, black people are not doing well in California, meaning we don't have our numbers are dwindling. Black people are being gentrified out of areas of Los Angeles into further and further out counties. Like I said before, the black population in San Francisco is about 6%. When I grew up there, the numbers were a lot higher. You had that movie that came out with Jonathan Majors called "The Last Black Man in San Francisco." It's for real. Black
I
people are
got.
being, and then black people. Check this out. I gotta say this part right here. I lived in Oakland for 10 years. Oakland was considered the chocolate city of that part of the Bay Area, right? Do you know that the black population in Oakland has gone down has dwindled by 25%?
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Bay Area, man, because like that's the home of the Black Panthers.
Right. Because
Yeah.
white people and other groups who never saw any desire in Oakland are now desiring to live in Oakland because it's next to transportation, it's next to everything that's suitable, right? So white people are moving in, the rents are going up, and black people that have lived there all their life are being forced to say, should I stay here and struggle, or should I move further out in the East Bay, somewhere where I can pay the rent or I can buy
Yeah,
a
like
house? And that's what's
Stockton or
happening.
something. Yeah, like
Right.
Stockton or someplace.
Right.
But and yeah, like I hate. Well, I don't want to say I hate, but speaking of like the population in California and just California as a whole, like, because I've been seeing talk about the Hispanic gang members lately, and I'm so glad to know that I'm not the only one that knows this, because like I've tried to tell friends about it, and like black people, like, we've been on this denial thing, we're like, why can't black people be unapologetically black? Like, it's okay to love your race first. Just because you love your race first don't mean you hate anyone else. Like, because I'm trying, I've tried to spread awareness that, hey man, like, there's no black and brown coalition. I'm not really caping for immigration right now, because the Hispanics and the Asian community, like, across the states, but particularly California, because that's where most of them are at.
Right.
And like they done pushed
Right.
us out, because back in the day, LA, Oakland, like these were black places, Compton, and
Right.
they not black like that no more. Mexicans, they
Right.
killing
And
us
look,
off. Being
if you
priced
look
out.
at if you listen to Dr. Claude Anderson and you do some research, immigration does not benefit black people. It hurts us. I'll give you a case in point. That
One moment, gentlemen.
yes,
I
I'm
want
sorry.
to recognize Uncle Suge for his Super sticker. Thank you, sir. And may it be returned to you abundantly. And welcome. Welcome to all that have come in.
Yeah,
Keith
welcome.
West.
Definitely welcome.
And
Hey, what's going on? That's my man, Keith West. Good to see you, my brother. He's a mod on my channel too.
oh,
Good brother
wow.
there. Good
But
brother there.
welcome
Good
to
family
everyone.
man.
The link is there. If you want to come up and ask any questions, keep it respectful. And again, thank you, Uncle Shug, and everyone else. Gentlemen, continue, please.
I just wanted to say this here. Mayor Adams in New York, you know the situation where you have Texas and Florida sending all these migrants to New York because New York, this is a big mistake that was done in California and New York. Nobody that lived in New York or in California it was never put to a vote whether we wanted to be a sanctuary state. Nobody put on my damn ballot, do you want to be a sanctuary state? California, we got homeless problems. New York's got homeless problems. LA's got homeless problems. Guess who that homeless is out there? Black folks. A lot of black folks are homeless in Los Angeles. Now you bring in an influx
DC, Maryland, and Virginia.
right,
DMV.
exactly.
We all
And then you bring in a flux of migrants in, which it impacts the black people that's already there trying to use those services or needing those services. Now, Mayor Adams is talking about sending the migrants to school, to college, which will take up taxpayers' dollars to get them training to put them in jobs. Wait a minute. What about the black people and the other race of people there who are homeless and need job training and opportunity? What about them? Before those migrants got there, he never said anything about creating a program for those folks that are there as citizens to get educated or to get job training or anything. The migrants come there and now all of a sudden they want to educate them and give them jobs. And guess who's going to get skipped over? People that look just like me and you.
Yeah. And it disgusts me how hold on. I'm trying I had a brain. Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, it disgusts me, like, how we put the immigrant class before ourselves. Like, our government made, like, certain places sanctuary states for Mexicans and things like that, and then we're supposed to be shamed into voting Democrat blindly without, like, knowing the policies, just so immigrants can come and vote Republican anyway. Right. They don't even come over here and vote Democrat, but we supposed to vote for them. Because the Democrats, they cater towards immigration, and that's what I was trying to say, but I had lost my train of thought temporarily.
But because the Democrats do this because they're looking at these people as potential voters. They're telling us as black people, we don't need y'all no more. You're irrelevant. You're not needed. We got this shiny toy over here that we're gonna polish into something for us. So they're hoping you bring these people over here, these people will become Democrats and vote for the Democrats, right? It's just like when they brought the Cubans over here, the white Cubans, because they didn't treat the black Cubans fairly in Florida.
Well, let's just say the Haitians. Yeah, like
a lot of those Haitians and black Cubans, they got marginalized, right? But the white Cubans came over to Florida, and that's back when I think it was Jimmy Carter or it was Reagan, or I think it was Reagan, who allowed them to come over and give them asylum, the whole 9 yards. And a lot of those Cubans, that older generation of Cubans, ended up becoming longtime supporters of the Republican Party because they hated Castro, because Castro kicked them out, took their land, took their property. And a lot of those older Cubans couldn't stand Fidel Castro, but they loved Ronald Reagan and the Republicans. And that's another reason why Florida is amongst many other reasons, why it's such a conservative, Republican-run state. They did the same thing the Democrats are trying to do, hoping that these immigrants will turn into Democrats instantly for them someday in the balance.
Okay, gentlemen, quick question. Information man, show. You've already discussed this, but for those who did not hear that, can you explain as far as the numbers and the conversation of getting closer to reparations, the importance of lineage and language?
Well, lineage is important because
Thank you.
I'm going to say this because I want to be respectful to African brothers and Caribbean brothers and sisters. In the
Absolutely.
Caribbean, they have a program called CARICOM, where the Caribbean brothers and sisters are fighting for their reparations from Great Britain. There's no Black American that I know that is interfering, no descendant of slaves or FBAs that are interfering in Caribbean brothers and sisters' plight for their reparations in the Caribbean. It's called CARICOM. When you look at Africa, South Africa, Nigeria, and all these different countries in the continent of Africa, they all have a bone to pick with Great Britain. None of us as FBAs, ADOS, whatever you want to call Freeman, we're not interfering in their thing. And they are fighting for what they need based on their lineage to the Caribbean, their lineage to the continent of Africa and a particular country in Africa. Now, what separates Black American people is that we are a specific lineage to America by way of slave trade. Then, of course, there are those who feel that, hey, we were already here. Some of us were already here, right? So we are a specific group onto us. We have a different culture. When someone comes here from the Caribbean or from the continent of Africa as an African, yes, we're both Black. Yes, we have ancestry from Africa, but we have different cultures. They didn't grow up like us. They don't have our history. We don't have their history. So this is about our history as FBA, as those that are descendants of slavery, because it's not that Black people are slaves. It's that our people were enslaved. Therefore, America, through the triangular slave trade in America throughout the years, has made billions of dollars and trillions of dollars off of Black Americans. This alone, remember, there were Black men and women who invented inventions that they couldn't get a patent for. And a white man got the patent for them and then stole the invention and got their name put on it. So a lot of us think that Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. Right? So when Black people would invent things, they couldn't get a patent because it was illegal for them. And when they got it, it was gotten by a white person. That white person eventually gets credit for a Black man's invention. That's just one example. Or you have Black people who had land, like my great-grandfather, and their land got taken from them because of eminent domain and blighting. It got taken from them. Black people got their land stolen. We never got the 40 acres and a mule. You had Black people that were sharecroppers coming out of slavery into Reconstruction. They got ripped off. You got places like Bruce's Beach in Los Angeles. You have places all over California, all over the South, where Black people had thriving communities and towns that got burned, pillaged, economics got ruined and destroyed.
Rosewood, even though that was a movie, it was based on a true story. And I don't know if there's any place, and chat and information man, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Do we have anything close to Rosewood?
No, you have the Tulsa, Oklahoma 1921 massacre of Black Wall Street. You also had Allensworth in California. This is why the California reparations thing is moving forward. Allensworth was a thriving Black town in California that got destroyed, ripped off, removed off the map in terms of Black people's control of it. Economic redlining. We still to this day, Black people still get discriminated. Black people tend, when they're expanding their businesses, their existing businesses, to expand them to get a loan from the bank, we're still redlined out of getting bank loans compared to our whiter counterparts. These are things that still go on.
You had a community that is, with all
because
the technology and our skills and innovations. Why?
Because the institutions, economic institutions of power in this country are run by people who do not look like us. They are run by people who do not have a self-interest in our community. Prior to us being out of segregation, when we were in segregation, like a Rosewood or a Tulsa, Oklahoma, or any of these communities like an Allensworth, these are communities where Black people were forced to do economics and cooperative economics with one another. We couldn't rely on the white man. So we had to create our own banks, our own schools, our own medical facilities, our own everything. And that made us self-sustaining because we had to trade money with one another. Once we begin to believe that the white man's ice was more colder than the black man's ice, and we want to integrate, that was one of the failures of the civil rights movement, integrating us into a burning house, integrating us into white man's businesses to go to their dining, their restaurants, and we thought that we were living high on the hog, that we can go to their restaurants. We in turn hurt our own businesses. The Negro Baseball League doesn't exist for what reason? Because all the black players went to the major leagues. And that destroyed the Negro leagues, which was by far better baseball than the Major League Baseball League. So unfortunately, we were led in the wrong path. That path was we should have focused on economics. Booker T. Washington and W.E. Du Bois had different ideologies. W.E. Du Bois was talking about the talented 10 and the elite, and that education would be the way to free black people. We got plenty of black people getting education, and we still don't have economic power. We should have followed, in my opinion, the Booker T. Washington philosophy, which was focus on land and ownership.
Ownership. I don't know if you've ever heard of Papa Duck, but he speaks
Yes.
on that all the time. I've had him on the show, waiting to get confirmation, but he says, we don't own anything.
That's right.
And a lot
And
of
because-
people,
right.
they would push back, but that young brother drops gems. Let me recognize
Right.
Keith West. He says, I'm very big on us melanated men and women getting ourselves a personal library. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, rest in peace. John Hendrick Clark, Nellie Fuller Jr., Claude Anderson. Power Economics. Please get their books. Thank you so much, Keith. History repeats itself unless we change it. And it has to start with how we see ourselves and divide and conquer. That is how they kept us defeated, which I like to ask you quickly, both gentlemen. Oh, I think he's gone. Willie Lynch, fact, fiction, or is that mindset truly inbred? I'll mute my mic. And
Yeah, I
thank
think
you.
the mindset is inbred. This is the thing that people need to understand fundamentally. Power only respects power. So because black people don't really have power in this society and we don't really own infrastructure, real infrastructure, corporations and companies en masse, we can't expect the larger society to respect us if we don't own anything because we don't bring anything to the table. Black people in general are in a subordinate position in which we are often in a position in which we're either, I hate to say this, we're either begging, pleading, and asking people that are in power to give us something. And I know, same thing with reparations, we're asking people but it's the truth. When you're in a position where you're asking someone that's in power to give you something and you don't have power, power doesn't recognize or respect those that are powerless. However, as my man Frederick Douglass said, power conceives nothing without a demand. You can't get anything without bringing a demand for something, but you also have to not only bring your demand, you need to bring your spirit, you need to bring your influence, and you need to bring your infrastructure. Black people do not have the type of infrastructure that wills a certain amount of respect in the main market. That's a problem.
Question. It may be unpopular, but it's on my mind, and I have to ask it. Do you think some sell their souls to obtain the power you just spoke on?
Yeah. That's why we have people that we call Uncle Toms or raccoons. Yeah, there are some black people who are willing to sell their souls for the permanent interest of that power. I was once told that when you look at politics, this is what people need to understand about politics. In politics, there are no permanent friends. There are no permanent enemies. There is just permanent interests. So politicians, whether they're black, white, yellow, or otherwise, they're going to do always what's in their best interest. So that opens the door for black people that can betray us, because they, at the end of the day, they're looking at securing their personal ambitions to rise up in the political game, their pocketbook, their bottom line.
You said something very poignant and noteworthy, and I'm gonna bounce it off of you. Prior to this new administration, Ice Cube got a lot of pushback because of the conversation involving then President Trump. Ice Cube said anybody that was willing to speak or listen, he would speak to. Was he wrong? And now that we're deep into the new administration, do you think that pushback was deserved, or was he right in his feelings?
I think that I did a video about that too. Ice Cube was 100% right. I don't think Ice Cube deserved the pushback, and this is why he got this pushback. There was a rumor running around social media and media that he had this sit down conversation with Trump. No, he didn't. A lot of black people ran with that narrative that he actually met with Trump. He's never met Trump a day of his life. Ice Cube even said that he never met with Trump. He simply was saying that he's willing to work with any administration that's willing to work with him and his plan. Now, let's just keep it real here and tell the truth. He said that he met with the Biden administration, and then they turned around and told him, oh, we'll get back to you after we get elected first. They basically gave him the cold shoulder. Freaking Biden's been in office and Kamala Harris has been in office, and we haven't heard anything since of them now saying, okay, now we're in office, let's meet with Ice Cube. They didn't meet with him. They just talk shit. This is your Democrat Party. Now, the Republican Party said something which was, we're willing to sit down and talk to Ice Cube about his plan. But guess what? There never was a meeting. So what did I tell you in the beginning, my sister? The Republicans and the Democrats are the same birds of the same wing. One lied to Ice Cube by saying they would meet with him after they got elected, and they never met with him. One said they was willing to meet with him, but never met with him, and he never even met with the head man, Donald Trump. So they both played the same political game. One promises you everything and does nothing. The other one promises you a little bit and still does nothing.
Absolutely. And what was the very first bill, that was signed when our new administration sat down?
Oh, well, they signed a bill to protect Asian people that were being attacked. So they had the Asian hate bill. They were, Kamala Harris was going around talking about what they were going to do for migrants and immigrants. Everything was about the Dream Act program for the kids whose parents came over here illegally and dropped off a child, gave birth to a child over here when they got here illegally.
But were there any statistics to support the signing of those bills? Because I've heard a rumor on another content creator's platform. I'm not going to mention his name. It's a rumor, but there is a buzz. There may have been in DC. I'm in DC. I haven't heard it, but I haven't done my due diligence that there may be an upcoming crime. I'm sorry to laugh, but a crime. I'm sorry.
Are you all right? Are you okay? Well,
no, I'm trying not to laugh.
We have been waiting for the George Floyd crime bill. Remember? The George Floyd policing bill that has never been passed. The Republicans don't want it. The Democrats come back and tell us, well, we can't get it passed because the Republicans in the Senate are stopping it. But now all of a sudden the Republicans got control of the damn House. But then when Asian people were being impacted by people attacking them, isn't it interesting? Right, but this is the thing though. Well, there were these random videos on social media and the news of Asian people being attacked. But this is the thing, my sister. When they made a bill to protect Asian people, You notice that the Democrats didn't get any pushback. They had that bill put together in no time. Anytime black people want something, what do they tell us? We have to have a committee.
Grassroots.
We got to talk about it first and have a committee. Then when they have a committee, they get all these Negroes together, all these long-winded Negroes talking, and then we still waiting. Like the HR 40 reparations bill. We still been waiting on that for over 30 years.
I think that, and no disrespect, but Al Sharpton runs NAN, which is the National Action Network. And I could be wrong, but has he been vocal in these issues?
No, because these Negroes want us caught up in the social justice of police and all this other stuff. Look, we know.
And Roland Martin.
Right.
Sorry.
But check this out. As much as they keep talking about social justice and policing, we still don't have a policing bill. They won't pass the policing bill. So it's a circular conversation. The Al Sharptons of the world are just telling us the same thing over and over again. But at the end of the day, sir, we need the damn policing bill. Or wait a minute. Better than that, my sister, why don't they enforce the laws that are already on the damn books? There's already laws on the books that they could be enforcing, but they don't enforce, at least for us. So we don't even have to wait on the George Floyd bill. Enforce what's on the damn books.
Right. And our current mayor in D.C., Marion Bowser.
Barry?
No,
oh, Bowser.
Mariel Bowser. I'm not sure how in the world she was re-elected. So much money has come into the city to help with the crime. Now, even though D.C. is no longer known as the murder capital, you can attribute that to number one, gentrification.
Mm-hmm.
But where did all of that money go?
Look, D.C., just like Baltimore, Maryland, a lot of black urban settings around the country, we've had a whole bunch of black mayors, some that have been great. Marion Barry, I believe, was a great mayor of D.C.
Mayor for life.
Other than, his shortcomings with the drugs and getting caught up in some of that. But other than that, he was one of the best mayors they've ever had. He's one of the best. Harold Washington in Chicago. But think about all these mayors we've had, especially in Baltimore. You had Smoke, all these people. And think about it like this. What do they all have in common? They all were Democratic mayors. And guess what? Baltimore, Philadelphia, all these cities, they're in the same worst shape that they was before these Negroes got into office and after they left office, which tells me we don't have legitimate black leadership, whether it be female or male.
Absolutely. AH. Colorful people donate a lot of money to who they want. And there's a website. I'll have to find it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can actually see who's donating what.
Yeah, you can. You can research where they're getting their money from, even though they don't want you to see that.
And you can see the businesses and sometimes stock and shareholders.
Right.
But see, people get the notion that some of us don't read or research. Many of us do. Many of us do. I think Shad, his connection, somehow or another froze up. So we'll go on to the next topic. And it was a beautiful, beautiful video. A lot of people had a lot of reactions, but I want your raw reaction to the Oscars and Angela Bassett, who I have loved for the longest. My favorite movie, my favorite character that she played was Tina Turner, and what's love got to do with it? To me, that was, she morphed into, in my opinion, Tina Turner in that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Angela Bassett, in my opinion, is one of the greatest actresses that ever did it. I have a lot of respect for her. I appreciate her, but I feel a lot of pain for her. You could see it in her face at the Oscars. I know she got up on stage and gave blessings to God, but that's who black people are. Even in defeat, we still find a way to give our blessings to God, right? But you could tell her husband's reaction that she was shocked. Courtney Vance, yeah, you could tell they were shocked because think about it. She hadn't been nominated for an Oscar since Love's Got to Do With It, and that's been decades ago. Hell, I had all dark hair. I've got gray hair now. I'm getting old. I'm 53 years old. The woman hasn't been nominated for an Oscar, and she's played in some movies that she could have gotten an Oscar for, or maybe she's not getting the roles like a lot of black actresses are not getting to get that Oscar nomination because black women don't get the roles that the white women get to get Oscar nominations. Here, the women.
Who's been quiet lately? Taraji P. Henson.
Right. But that's what I was trying to say on my video the other night, that even when black people get buzz and we win an Oscar or any kind of award, we'll be hot for a minute because they only choose one of us at a time. They don't I said it on my show, they don't let black people be hot at multiple levels. It's only one Negro at a time we're going to deal with, right? So she was hot at one point in time for Hollywood's sake, getting a few opportunities here and there, and then they tend to veer away and go to someone else. The fact that Angela Bassett, I don't know why I keep saying that, Angela Bassett has had to wait all these years to be nominated. And when she's finally nominated, the whole buzz around Hollywood is that she's a shoo-in to win Best Supporting Actress. And then when that happens, I can understand why she didn't feel good about it, because she had waited over 30 years or more. Because they don't give black women the roles that they deserve to, just as much as they give the white women the roles. Now, on the other side of that, should we as black people continue to put a lot of energy into the Oscars when we know it's a rigged game, that it's political? They go that word political again. It's political, it's rigged, it's games that are being played. We shouldn't put a lot of validation into who we are as a people and our entertainers as well. Because of the Oscars, like I said before, when they came out with the Oscars, they never intended to give black people recognition for their acting, which is why we really should focus more on having our own award shows and recognizing our own people, instead of expecting that this thing called Oscar, which is run by white folks in Hollywood, they're going to give the Oscar to whoever they feel like giving it to, because the Oscars is about a popularity contest. It ain't really about the substance of your acting skills, because if that's the case, Denzel Washington should have a whole armful of Oscars. But when they give us the Oscar, it's because we play some crooked cop. We play we got to bust it wide open and have sex with Billy Bob Thornton. We got to be some dysfunctional black mother in the movie Precious. We got to be some pimp, some hooker. We got to play think about it. Samuel L. Jackson didn't really blow up in Hollywood or Halle Berry until they were in Spike Lee's movie playing crackheads. Then all of a sudden, that's when Samuel Jackson and his performance in Jungle Fever blew him up. And then everybody kept saying, oh, we got to put him in our movie. And then Halle Berry, she was in really small scale movies until she played that crackhead role. And then they started putting her in other movies. And then she did the Billy Bob thing.
But she was excellent in my opinion, introducing Dorothy Dandridge.
Right. But but thank you, my sister. Thank you. That's my whole point. She's playing a role of a very elegant black woman from the black actress that we all revere and love. Why don't she get recognition for that? Why do black people get recognized when we're crackheads and we're hookers and crookers and all that other stuff? That's what I'm saying. So it tells you that it tells you that the Oscars is political. They're not going to give Denzel Washington the Oscar for playing Malcolm X. It's too damn political.
Yeah, I was just going to.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too, man. I ain't trying to cut you off. I just wanted to say because she asked the question for both of us. So yeah, I love Angela Bassett. Now I ain't gonna lie, I seen her in Boys in the Hood, and I seen her in the Jackson movies. I seen her in the Jacksons first, and then I seen her later in Boys in the Hood. She was in a lot of stuff, but I can't remember what else I seen her in. But yes, I
And
love
no
her.
nominations
Ella
all
better
these
prove
years.
that.
Right, but no nominations for Oscar actress or either supporting all these years, and we didn't seen her in some damn good. We've seen her in some good movies that we liked as black people, but when you look at her and the opportunities that black actresses and actors get, they don't get the same opportunities.
Waiting
That's
to
why,
exhale.
right? That's why I
Hers
have
to
a
the gas.
problem. Right. That's why I had a problem with our British brother who said he don't want to be a black actor, but when
Idris
he
Elba.
right, DJ L. But what he fails to recognize is that, brother, you in America, you're in America, and you don't. He doesn't seem to realize that he didn't make his name. He left Great Britain, and he blew up when he came here
Right.
in a motion picture industry that black people are the ones that opened up the door for his British ass to come over here. And it was him playing Black Rose. Nobody knew who he was until he was in The Wire, where he played that
Stringer
character in The
Bell.
Wire. Right,
Stringer
Stringer
Bell.
Bell.
The
Right.
fir-
Baltimore.
He
the
played
first
black
thing
characters.
The first thing I seen Idris Elba in is that a movie called Daddy's Little Girls. I don't know if y'all know that one, but it got the three sisters from Atlanta, my city. Like China McClain and the other
Right.
two.
It
Yeah.
Yeah,
wasn't it
Alongside
wasn't
Gabrielle
white.
Union.
Right. White
Excellent movie.
America, white
right.
America didn't make him the sex symbol. White America didn't first recognize him. It was black America who put him on game. It was black America that loved his performance in The Wire, loved his performance in Daddy's Little Girl. It was black America, and he took those jobs that required you to be a black actor. Now, I understand what he's saying. He's saying that he wants to be looked at as an actor. I get it. But guess what, brother? You in America. And as long as you are black, when those executives in Hollywood are putting together a cast, they're not looking at you as just an actor. They're going to look at you, we need a black man to play this role. Get that Elba guy. That's how they think in Hollywood. No, Hollywood is like that. They pick people of a certain look and ilk to play a certain role. Nobody in Hollywood is running around saying we just need an act. They want the best actors, yes. And so right now he happens to be one of the best actors who happens to be black. And when they cast him, if you look at when they cast him in movies, you can tell they cast him in a role in which they wanted a black guy. Hell, he's from Great Britain. The people in Great Britain don't want his ass to play James Bond. They don't want him to play James Bond. Because why? Because they see him as black. Even though
Right.
he says, I don't want to be seen as a black actor. Well, your own people in Great Britain don't want your ass playing James Bond, even though you know deep down inside you want to play James Bond.
Yeah. And I want to say this, and I'm gonna stay on topic, sister, because I know
Oh,
you
man.
can get from the other stuff, but it also seems like Black America is being gentrified out of our roles too, because like they get Black British actors to play roles that we ought to be playing. For example, like with Snowfall, the brother who's the face of it is he's from the UK too. I don't know his name that well, but. And he's not the only one. Even with the Bel Air, like they getting another African dude, and I don't mind it. I'm not trying to sound divisive, I love diaspora, but I'm just saying, like, some people like notice that, and I ain't think about it like that until it was mentioned. So I'm just bringing that to attention, and I say that to also say, yeah, what you think about that? You think we've been gentrified out of roles?
Well, it seems like every time you see a black person on a TV show or a movie that you think might be black American, and then when you hear them speak on the interviews, here comes that British accent. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And then look. I love all our people in the diaspora to get opportunities. I think that everybody should get an opportunity, but I do find it interesting that every time you look at a black production, most of the actors are now black British people. And you say to yourself, you can't help but say to yourself, okay, do we still have black people in America that act too? Where they at? Where they
Yeah,
at?
because it makes you feel like the Black American actors are dropping out of acting, and yeah, but like as if we don't have none that's going to school for that or that or thorough in their craft or their whatever,
Right. So I'm just wondering, I know black people act, black people go to acting school and drama school. Where we at?
hmm
And so many, and when you hear that British accent and it makes you wonder, well, what happened? Did black people that act in America, did we just fall off and lose our skills like yesterday or some shit? Did we just fall off that bad?
My point, like that's my point. I'm glad you said it like that because like that's how I felt like once I brought Tariq, like once I heard Tariq bring it up because like they don't mind having us on the side, but like I know like the face of certain shows and movies, like yeah, we're being taken out and replaced with yeah.
Now check this out. Now here comes my conspiracy theory why I think this could be. Could it be that the British actors, when they're coming over here from Great Britain, they have this hunger and desire to blow up and be a star, so they're more willing to take roles and do things that black American actors may not want to do. For example, we know that, and I said this before, we know that Angela Bassett turned down the Monster Ball role and Halle Berry took the role, even though she's not a British actress, right? But are they maybe taking roles that black American male or female actors are turning down, and that the British actors are willing to do any and everything because they're thirsty to blow up? Which is why I don't want to sound bad here, but let's keep it real. When you turn on Netflix, you go to the movies, you go to all these TV things, every time you turn around, they're making black people, they're making black men and black women do these roles where they're engaging in homosexual activity. So it just makes me wonder, because that's what you're seeing on the movies and television a lot. I'm just asking the question. It just makes me wonder, because when you see these people play these roles and then you hear them in an interview, here comes the British accent. No, I'm saying really check out what I'm saying. Look at the roles that they play and how they behave in the movies, and then listen for their accent when they get interviewed. And then you wonder, then you have to ask the question, are the American black actors refusing to play certain roles? And they're saying that's okay because we can get these British people to play anything we want them to play.
I do think you have a point there, man. Because I don't know the name of this movie. I was trying to find it, but this was a while ago, like around 2017, something like that. It's a low budget movie. Like even with the low budget movies, like they'll get like black actresses and actors from other places, to do things that we wouldn't do. Like for example, like whatever the name of that movie was, it had this crazy white guy. And he's from DC, but I forgot his name, so I can't find the movie. I wish I could.
It's okay.
Yeah, no doubt. But anyway, my point of bringing it up is to say, yeah, like the sister, like she was the only black person in the movie. It wasn't a big cast because it took place in a house somewhere, and like the white guy, like it was a situation like where like their neighbor friends, they came over and like he started getting mad because he felt like the other guy was interacting with his black woman. And he started hurting people and raping people, and he killed himself. It's a crazy shit. But I had to bring it up to make a point because that sister, like, she's Nigerian. So yeah, that's how deep I'm willing to go with it.
I don't want to despair black people in the diaspora that are striving to be actors, because there's some people that will say, well, they're better actors, or maybe they, like the brother said here, AH said, maybe they're willing to act for cheaper prices than the American black person is willing to work that job for. Because economics plays a role, politics plays a role. But this has been going on, like the brother said in the comment here. It's been going on for years. It's been happening for years. I just think black people, we need to like recognize that the Oscars is a rigged situation. So we shouldn't be surprised when things don't go our way. And I got to be honest, I don't think that Will Smith doing what he did last year helped black people. It helped black actors. Because that whole Oscars last year was a whole black production. From the brother who produced it, to Questlove getting his Oscar, to Samuel Jackson getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, which we don't know about because I'm really disappointed. Will Smith won an Oscar for playing a strong black man who raised his daughters. He didn't win the Oscar for being a crooked cop. He won an Oscar for a role that was dignified, but then he got up there and became undignified. So now everybody, when they think about him winning that Oscar, they're not thinking about, wow, he won the Oscar for playing Richard Williams, a black man who took care of his family and was responsible and raised beautiful daughters to become professional tennis players. Everybody's going to remember, oh, that's the Oscar where Will Smith slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. You see what I'm saying?
What movie you're talking about? Yeah, what movie you talking about, by the way?
Will Smith played the role of Richard Williams, the father of the Serena Williams sisters. It's called, it's a good movie. Actually, it's on Netflix.
Because I ain't seen this, and sounds interesting.
It's it showed it's a movie about how he trained them to become the players that they are today, and all the struggles he went through. It's autobiography. It's his life. I got to be honest. Will Smith did a hell of a job, but he ruined it for the legacy of the movie in our memory because 5 years from now, people are going to still say, oh, that's the Oscar when he slapped the mess out of Chris Rock. Nobody's going to focus on the actual movie. That's where Will Smith effed up.
Yeah,
and
man,
made us all look bad.
Yeah, that's messed up.
And so if you think about it, the Oscars said, you know what? We gave you Negroes the show last year and y'all ucked it up. This year, we're going to give it to the Asians. That's what they did. Oh, my God.
I have a comment from AH. That is the bottom line. Those other actors will take roles and play parts that chump us off. They do it on the sly. Not so direct, but they do it. And only Black American actors that are working are the ones that support the agenda, which brings me to one of my favorite actors, and I haven't seen in a while, Cuba Gooding Jr. And Sanaa Lathan. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
But Jr., remember, he got himself in that situation where a woman said he kind of hurt his career. That's all I can say.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
That hurt him. That hurt him badly because prior to that, he was getting some pretty decent roles here and there, right? He had a pretty decent reputation. Then he got caught up in that situation in the club, touching a woman or whatever the situation is, and now you ain't hearing nothing from him. You know who's a real writer, brother? Who's a great actor? But they have, and see, this is the thing. If you notice, when white people and other people disrespect black people, they get a chance to have a second and third chance. If black people have a boo-boo, we're finished in the game. I'll give you a perfect example. Isaiah Washington, he was on the Gross Anatomy show. He had a run-in with one of the actors who happened to be part of the LGBTQ community. He said some things. Then I think he put out an apology. Guess what? He's been completely whiteballed out of Hollywood. You don't see him on no major TV shows no more. No major big Hollywood productions. He actually produced his own movie playing he played the true Lone Ranger, Vass Reeds, a black man. So you know, it was a black man who was the original Lone Ranger. That Lone Ranger TV show was based off of Bass Reeds, who was a lawman. He was a what do you call that?
Yeah, I heard he whipped his slave master and escaped out west, right?
Right. And Bass Reed became one of the most fearless lawmen in this country, and he was bounty. He would catch people, and he was like a marshal or something like that. Yeah, he is the original marshal, and Isaiah Washington has produced a movie, and I'm hearing that the movie is pretty good. It's an independent film that he's making. But my point being is that his career in Hollywood has never been the same since what happened years ago with his Gross Anatomy co-actor who he had a bad exchange with. And then after he even gave out an apology, Hollywood has never forgotten him. You know why? Because certain groups got more power than we do. Now, if that white boy would have called him a Negro, called him an N-word and called some slur, okay, we would have got all over him on social media. We would have called him out as racist. He would have been peppered with all of that, right? And I guarantee you that white boy would have been able to rework his career and get back into Hollywood and still act again. Remember Don Imus, the radio host? He called those black women that played for Ruckus basketball team, he called them nappy-headed. Yeah, Imus in the morning. He called them nappy-headed. And then what happened? Everybody came down on him. He lost his job at CBS in their radio division. But guess what happened? After a couple years passed, Don Imus was on Sirius XM radio. So when you're a white person and you're a part of a particular group, you can say bad things about us, take the hit for a couple of years and recoup your career in a couple of years and get back out there. Look at Isaiah Washington. Has he been able to recoup his career in Hollywood? Hell to the no. That's the world we live in.
Also, Steven Seagal, like I think he was accused when the Me Too movement started off of doing something on the scenes, and I'm sure he's still getting roles.
He always did them B movies and shit that nobody cared about. But that's the point, man. That's the difference in treatment. Now, because I know somebody out there listening going to say, oh, you guys are sounding like you're whining and you're putting crutches. No, I'm just saying that these are the things that are reality. That doesn't mean that you still don't get your ass up and still go out here into the world and do what you have to do as a black woman and a black man. We know that there are certain things against us. Don't use it as a crutch to say you can't achieve anything. Just recognize it as a reality. And when it confronts you, you got to step over it and keep going forward. Because I know somebody going to listen and say, oh, they crying and whining and they got crutches on and say they can't do anything because the white man's holding them back. No, we still got to do something.
I was talking to my homie earlier, right? And like, man, I'm so glad you brought that up, because he feels like when we talk about white supremacy or whatever, and by the way, I hate that term, and I had to bring that up to him because
I call him white nationalists.
yeah, but like he was just saying like he don't like to talk about it because he feel like we're using it as an excuse, and or maybe it's going to subconsciously make us feel like, well, why might as well try, which is basically what you said. Like no, we gonna still get up and do what we got to do to better our lives and prosper. Yeah,
check this out, brother. Yeah. Check this out. This is how you can squash all of that nonsense. I want y'all to listen to me very carefully here. The Jewish community in America and around is doing pretty good for themselves economically, right? They own businesses, they own corporations. They had the Holocaust where their family members were harmed and killed, deleted by the Germans, and they're getting reparations checks from the United States and from Germany, right? Mm-hmm. Despite the prosperity that the Jewish community enjoys, guess what's one of the main things they always tell their kids? Never, never, never forget. So even Jewish people who have money and resources in this country will still teach their kids about the Holocaust. And they have a word that says never forget. Now, I guarantee you, if any of us got up on this channel and said disparaging things about Jewish people on this platform and in mainstream, this channel would be gotten rid of. And if you are a mainstream personality, you'll be finished, because even Jewish people say we won't tolerate it. So why is it that when black people talk about the past and the things that have happened to us, then always some mealy-mouthed Negro who jumps out of the window and says, well, you shouldn't be talking about what happened to us in the past. Wait a minute. Tell that to the Japanese in the Jewish community who teaches their kids all the time, that you can't use slurs. Jewish people will never let you use a slur. We run around here using the N-word and they refuse to use it, and they teach their kids not to use it. So how is it a bad thing to recognize your history when Jewish people make money and still recognize their history? The only reason why we look funny is because we recognize our history and we ain't got no money.
And this,
BBL,
and this goes back,
Anti-Defamation League.
Right.
and this,
We'll
yeah,
get you in a minute.
and
Right.
this, and this goes back to what I said earlier, like when I was asking the somewhat rhetorical question, because like yeah, like I had asked yeah, like why is it that black people can't be unapologetically black, like and putting themselves first? You know what I'm saying? But I do got this question when it comes to talking about white supremacy. Um, um how would you teach a young child as young as 4 about it without them possibly feeling anger or hate to want to commit acts of violence against white folks? Because that's my main concern. Like like how do you supposed to go about teaching them to where like it's healthy for
Well,
them to
I
consume it?
think you need to, you need to work with the child where their mind is at. So I would start slowly, because people already do this with their kids already, where you teach kids about, well, there are people in this world who will sometimes treat you badly. There are bad people that treat people bad, and that's not a good thing. So I think you got to work with the child where their mind is. I don't think we can hit our kids with all this heavy talk that we talk at the age that they can't process it. So you got to make it simple for them, which is there are people in this world that will treat you poorly based on how you look. Kids can relate to that. How you look.
Okay, okay,
Or you because we do it all the time with our children. We teach them that there's bad people. We teach them wrong from right. We teach them to be respectful, to say yes ma'am and yes sir and all that sort of stuff. So you just simply teach your child to respect people, no matter who they of different cultures, but and let them know that sometimes there are bad people in this world that won't treat you as respectful as you will treat them, and they'll treat you disrespectful maybe because they don't like the way you look. You got to be very simple with a 4-year-old child because their brain is not prepared to deal with the shit that we deal with. And then as your child gets older, then you add to the caviar, right? You let them grow up and gain better cognitive ability to understand and process. And as their cognitive ability gets better, now you start to hit them with the heavy stuff. And you should hit them with books. Let them start reading books little by little. Then they got the books to reference, and then you're teaching them. And then as they get older, they totally understand what the hell's going on. They understand step by step.
yes, and I'm glad that you was able to answer that for me, because like there was a situation where a small black child, like man, she was toe up because I think she encountered another child that was unfortunately taught racism, and like
Right,
yeah, it broke her heart. And like Tariq was saying, like black people gotta teach their kids, but when
right,
people say teach our kids, and I don't got no kids, I'm young and I ain't trying to get none until I get myself together, you know.
right.
But with that being said, yeah,
I
like people
worked.
just
No, I
you
hear.
know,
I totally hear what you're saying, brother.
yeah,
I work as a rehab therapist in mental health, so this is right up my alley. And I remember when I was in college, I took a child development course, and we had this setup where you can observe the kids. That there was a daycare center, and we could actually observe the kids behind glass to understand how kids interact with each other. And I'm going to be honest with you, all this racism stuff, kids are not born that way. Kids play. You'll have kids of all races playing with each other. Nothing. It's learned behavior. It's taught behavior. Kids
exactly.
grow up and then they begin to fill out. And then they realize, hey, you're white and I'm black. You know where they get that from? Because we put that in their brain. While they're little kids, they don't think like that. They just want to play with toys.
That's right.
It's till they get poisoned. So what happens is a white child that talk to a child like that is because that child's been poisoned by their family already. So if you hear a little kid call a black kid an N-word, they got that from their family, teaching them that. So all we can do again is prepare our children for that reality that there's kids out here and people out here that's not going to like you because of your tone of your skin. And you got to say it in a way that they understand.
That makes sense, and that's very possible. It can be
Right.
done. Yeah.
Because remember when you had remember the doll test? And I think, brother, the doll test was a test in which they gave black children, white, particularly girls, a white doll and a black doll to pick from. And most of the young black girls picked the white doll. They didn't pick the black doll because they thought the black doll was ugly. Why? Because our ancestors in the past, they grew up when they were little kids already knowing that white people didn't like them because they were being called an N-word when they were little. It psychologically affected them to the point that they wanted a white doll over a black doll.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Thurgood Marshall, when he was a young lawyer, he did this test when he was making his moves against this, when he was making his move to change these laws about how black children felt in school in terms of their self-esteem. So if you had a daughter and you were born at that time, brother, your child would know this shit by default because that's the world you live in. Now we live in a world where it's not supposed to be acceptable. So you're going to just have to give it to them step by step.
That's right.
And
Hey, I
prepare
got
them for reality. But I want to thank you for having me on today.
you talking about me?
No, the good sister here.
Oh, I thought this is your channel.
No, this not. No.
You are absolutely welcome. Thank you, Shad. This is the video that I did on the doll test I just spoke of. And Information Man show. I just had a quick last topic.
Okay.
To go
Let
in
me
real
know
quick, but
because I
it'll
got
be quick. Yes.
some daddy duties that I have to do for my daughter. That's why.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't expect that to go that long, but Michael Irvin, your thoughts on that?
Michael Irvin. Oh,
Yes.
wow. Did you know that he dropped his lawsuit against the hotel now?
I know that he dropped the one that was filed in Dallas, but from my understanding, the latest was it was refiled in Arizona, where the incident allegedly took place.
And I have some video footage of this because I was going to do a story about it too, and I just never did. But he has video footage of a couple of white guys that were there who witnessed what happened, and they said that he never did anything wrong or said anything wrong to the woman that is accusing him of this. So they're actually witnesses. So if he goes to court with this, he's going to have a good chance of winning because there's actually guys that were there that were just there for the Super Bowl that talked to him, that he took pictures with too, that saw what happened.
Yes, because the audio apparently, or the video didn't have the audio with it. It was just, and they're alleging that he may have just said more than pleasantry. So without actual witness to hear the audio, we don't know right now.
Okay.
I just wanted to know, do you think, because a lot of people I've heard have gone back to the 90s where he was in trouble for recreational things, but that has nothing to do with right now. I'm speaking on what do you think could possibly be the end game? A settlement or the full purse, $100 million?
Wow. There might be a settlement because I don't know if Michael Irvin wants to drag this on. And the problem is, I don't know what the evidence is against him in terms of what is we haven't seen, what's the hardcore evidence?
Right.
I know for a fact that he's got there were at least two people who said that they didn't see him do anything negative towards this woman. But like you said, there's some audio out there where he might have said some things that were not appropriate. But let's say he said some things that were not appropriate to this woman, but he never physically touched her. Is that worth $100 million?
Well,
people say nasty things to people every day.
Twice on the elbow.
Oh, okay. Wow. But we do know that athletes are targeted too, right? Because they have money. So we know that this person, they could go either way. Either she could be looking to get a lick off of him because he's got money and a name, or did he drink too much that night? Because he looked like he had a couple of beers. He looked like he had been drinking.
Yes.
Maybe he drunk a little bit too much and he said things out of his mouth that weren't appropriate, or maybe he did something that wasn't appropriate because he was intoxicated. And maybe things went too, because what I'm hearing is that it wasn't what he did on the out there talking to her, is what happened when he went up to his hotel room. And I guess he ran into her, and the claim is that he did something in that way. So I think it's made look. I think it's going to be bad for Michael Irvin in this way because he has a history of the substance abuse, and he has a history of reckless behavior in the past, which is going to be used against him in his credibility. That's the thing that's tough here.
Okay, well, that's all I had. Like I said, I didn't mean for the last segment to go as long because I really wanted to.
No, it's okay.
Present, but no, you've given a wealth of information. Also, Dope Live, thank you for coming in. Welcome to the chat. This is Information Man Show. We talk about Shanquella Robinson, Mexico, the Oscars, and just briefly over Michael Irvin and these upcoming events. So,
I think his lawyer is going to tell him to settle.
you do?
His lawyer may tell him to settle out, because if he goes to trial, now it opens up a whole can of worms. And this is another thing we don't know too, that I just thought about. What if they've got video footage in the hotel that we haven't seen yet of him sort of following her or doing something on the elevator towards her? You know, if this is a serious case against him, the hotel's going to pull that video, because these hotels got all kind of cameras all over the place.
If they
to see
haven't
what you're
already.
doing. Right.
If they haven't already. Because it had to be, in my opinion, serious enough to relinquish or have him relinquish being a commentator for the Super Bowl.
Right. Because you know the NFL's got their own investigators.
Absolutely.
So you know the NFL's doing their investigation. And this is why I say he could settle out, because let's say his lawyer comes back to him and says, Michael, they've got some damning video against you. And if you take this to trial, all this video is going to be shown for everybody to see around the country, because you know they're going to put it out there.
Well, that's why his lawyers released it the first time, and it was allegedly dismissed in Dallas. But
So
they immediately refiled in Arizona.
Right.
Because they claim they have more witnesses and other information. But
and if he's innocent, hopefully those witnesses can negate whatever but this is the killer though. If they do have video that shows him doing something out of sight of witnesses that was not appropriate, and his lawyers are presented with that, then they're going to tell him, you got to settle, man. It's going to be bad for you. And then when you hear, don't be surprised if you hear that he's settling. And if he's settling, that might be because there's some video that they don't want you to see and me to see and everybody else. Now, I hope it's not true. I love Michael Irvin on the NFL shows on the week. I love his personality. I like that he's made some change from what he was in the past. But if this is true, he's done for. And another way we can figure this out too, my sister.
Yes, sir.
Is see how quickly he gets his job back on ESPN. If ESPN never brings him back because he's completely innocent, that tells you a lot. Because they're doing their investigation. If they don't matter of fact, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
And maybe I should know this already. Has Michael Irvin donned an ESPN or a NFL? I think he's on NFL Game Day. Has he been on the NFL channel lately since this thing happened?
I have not seen that. He
That's
could
a
have been,
bad sign.
but I
No, I haven't.
haven't seen it.
When I go on YouTube and look at sports shows, I see Michael Irvin all the damn time, all over the damn thumbnails. I have not seen him all over the thumbnails anymore. That is potentially a bad sign.
But do you think it's because of the guidance from his legal team, or if these stations have, if you will, adonished themselves temporarily from
Could
him
be,
and their brand?
but remember, the NFL has their own investigative team.
Right.
So the NFL, because he was working on the NFL channel. He's on the NFL channel. And I think sometimes, no, let me correct that. He used to be on the NFL channel and he's on ESPN. Don't think that ESPN, which is a $1 billion, they're the worldwide of sports.
Conglomerate.
Right. Don't tell me that they don't have an independent investigative team that's gone down there and they're doing their own question and answering.
Absolutely.
So they could be saying we can't have him on the show until the law exonerates him, or we're not going to have him on the show because we know something that the rest of the world don't know right now. It could go either way.
Absolutely. Well, I am not going to take up any more of your Saturday. Thank you so much for introducing
Thank you. This was
yourself
wonderful.
and going over these very important current topics that affect many of us.
Thank you.
And Todd, thank
I
you
enjoyed
as well.
myself.
And thank you for having me on. I enjoy interacting with y'all, even though I ain't say too much. It's okay. I felt like I had to say what I had to say.
Oh, okay, brother.
Absolutely.
Nah, you did a great job, brother. Check me out. I'll be live tomorrow on my channel, The Information Man Show. So come on over and check that out, brother, and subscribe if you like. I want to say again. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I just want to say to the sister here, thank you for letting me come up. I really enjoyed my time here today on this Saturday. It was wonderful talking to you, conversing. Thank you for wanting to interview me. I really appreciate that. And hope to see you soon. And
you will.
And definitely I'll be supporting this channel. And I hope everybody is doing well out there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And have a good rest of your Saturday. And keep playing that good jazzy music late into the night.
Oh, you like that too? Thank you.
Oh, no. I like how you have your channel running 24 hours and you got the music and all that good stuff playing. Keep that going.
Yes, sir.
That's a very, very nice, a nice taste. And then you got the interviews and all that good stuff. Somebody that I think I would recommend him to you, that you would probably, you should get Black Man Unfiltered on your channel. He has a good channel, Black Man Unfiltered. You would be a great interview. He'll be a great interview for you. There's a lot of people that I will pass your name on to.
Oh, thank you.
That would be really good brothers to interview and get different perspectives from, and sisters, not only men but ladies as well. So I'll try to pass those folks, let those folks be aware of who you are, and things of that nature. Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Blessings to you.
Blessings to you too. Take care, my sister. Bye. Peace, everyone.
Bye, everyone. That was the Information Man Show. Thank you for all that joined in. I'm going to drop this one more time for any that may have any comments, thoughts, and opinions before I close this out. Again, we spoke about Mexico, Shanquella Robinson, the Oscars, and Michael Irvin. If not, you're welcome to leave your comments in the comment section. If you have not already, please subscribe to this channel as well as Information Man Show, which is pinned, and share this video. You are welcome, Information Man Show. Thank you so much for your wisdom and your raw insight on the topics in which we discussed. Shad killings, thank you as well for coming up on the panel and sharing your thoughts. Again, the link is there for a few moments for any who would like to chop it up, if you will, before I close it out. And let me recognize everyone again. Information Man Show, of course, who was our special guest. Tune in to him tomorrow. We have AH, again, Shad Killings, Andrea Smith, Oh So Dope Live, and scrolling all the way up, Marlon Cooking Channel, Keith West, Empress Goddess Spiritual AG, Maritza 17, Uncle Shug. And again, thank you so much for your gift. May it be returned abundantly. You can see that right here. Also, we had Glow in the house, as well as Empress again. Thank you so much. King BJ. Shihan, thank you. Black Knight Mustang, Mahogany Roots, thank you. And we had The Godfather, Coach D, Terrell, and thank you for your blessing. May it be returned abundantly. Meryl J, Gamer Bro, it's me, Lori. Quite a few people today. Thank you so much for everyone that turned in and turned out. Everyone, truly appreciate it. Daryl Long. Well, he's gone, but you're welcome to catch the replay we spoke about in the very beginning, Lennon Honor and Umar Johnson. So you definitely have to catch that in the replay if you're interested. And we spoke about Mexico and Shanquella Robinson, the 4 who were kidnapped. Then we segued into Oscars and Angela Bassett, and finally closed out with Michael Irvin. So the link is there if anyone wants to discuss any of what they heard, or if you have a comment, whether it's in agreement or dissenting, as long as you're respectful. We'll be up for a few more moments, and if not, I will close this out, and you all can remain enjoying the rest of this Saturday, perhaps Sunday, depending upon where you are on the globe. So, again, I'll wait for a few, and if not, you all be safe, be well, and be healthier. Again, a few more moments, and I'll be saying bye-bye for now. Again, thank you so much to Information Man Show, our special guest on this Saturday. And while I give it a few minutes, put in some links. you haven't already, that is my link if you'd like to subscribe to my channel. And also, one more. And again, thank you so much for showing up, Daryl Long. There we go. And those who may want to join membership for perks for other guests that we'll be having in the future, all of my guests are special. The link is there. So it is now 8:20. If by 8:22 no one has anything they would like to add, I will be shutting this down and enjoying the remainder of my Saturday. Prayerfully, you all will be remaining and enjoying this beautiful Saturday or Sunday, depending upon where you are on the globe. Again, thank you, Information Man Show and Shad Killings. Thank you to those who tuned in on Facebook as well. Your support is greatly appreciated, as well as my members, mod subscribers, and those who may be watching from the bushes. There are links, important links, in the chat about some of the things that we discussed, including the Atlanta child murders. So that may be something that'll be coming up in the future. So keep your notification bells on and check them periodically just to make sure when I and everyone else goes live, so you can get all of the information. And with that, you all enjoy the remainder of your day. Be safe, be well, and you know the rest. Be healthier. Bye for now.